of existence, they have been trying to find an intense rivalry, and perhaps they have found it. From Freeman Coliseum, the Aeros renew that rivalry as they take on the San Antonio Dragons. Very pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio. I'm Adam Gordon. The Aeros have won 9 in a row. It is making all the headlines, and they did it in fine fashion last night. Their third shutout of the season, a 2-0 whitewash of the Quebec Rafales. And you go to the highlights from last night, not a lot of goals to show. The first goal of the game came early in the first period as Guy LaRose would drop a pass back to Mark Greig. And watch this shot from Greig. Top shelf over Stéphane Beauregard, and the Aeros took a 1-0 lead. Then they would call on Frederic Chabot to make some saves, and he would make a couple of tough ones right there. And then Mark Greig again. Could he make it 2-0? He makes a great move around Beauregard, but he couldn't stuff it into the open net. But Mark Lamb added an empty net goal, and the Aeros hold on and win it 2-0. The Southwest Division standings are getting tighter every day. The Aeros now just 3 points out of the top spot that the Las Vegas Thunder occupy. And Troy Gamble, obviously, the Houston Aeros, no one really knows what one thing has turned it around, but we do know they're just playing some consistent hockey right now.
Well, when you talk about consistent hockey, the Aeros winning their last 9 games, and they've done it the old-fashioned way. They've done it by not scoring a bunch of goals, but keeping the puck out of the net, and that's what they hope to do tonight.
Well, and there has been one constant throughout all this winning has been the play of Frederic Chabot.
Well, he's just been great, and that's why he's been the goalie of the week a couple weeks in a row. And the one thing about Frederic Chabot, he makes the saves at the top of his goalie crease. And when he makes those saves, there he is, goes down in that butterfly style. You'll see him go down a lot, Adam, but he's always in a position to make the great save. Here, once again, he covers it up, lets the rebound go, dives back, he's all over the ice. The one thing about Frederic Chabot is that he competes, and that's what he's been doing.
Back on October 4th, when the Aeros began regular season play, it was in this building that they lost their team captain, Al Conroy, for 12 games. Took him some time to get reacclimated, but he has come back and he is on fire.
Well, he's come back with a vengeance. The one thing about Al Conroy, he is Captain Al Conroy. They need him to lead this team. And when he leads the team, he's the best at it. And you can see some of his numbers there. The 3 game-winning goals, 5 goals, 7 assists. Al Conroy, he's been a plus player every game but the first game when he came back, and you cannot ask any more from him.
From the San Antonio Dragons side of things, they brought in Len Barrie for a reason. Score goals, and he is not disappointed for them.
Well, he has never disappointed any team that he's played for by scoring goals. This year, he's second in the IHL in the goal-scoring department. If the Aeros are going to have success tonight, they need to shut him down.
All right, when we return, it is the opening face-off as well as the Gamble game plan. We'll be right back with all the excitement right after this.
Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
We are set to go with the Aeros and the San Antonio Dragons, and let us take a look at tonight's GGP, the Gamble game plan. And Troy, a lot of this stuff is the same stuff we've been talking about for a while.
Well, they need to play it smart tonight, Adam. The Dragons lead the IHL in penalty minutes, so the Aeros could get a lot of power plays tonight. And talking with Dave Tippett, he feels tonight the power play just might break out. So if they play it smart, they could have a lot of chances. And well, we mentioned one player in the opening, Barrie. The one thing, he has a couple great wingers, Shank and Loach, and they have to contain this line to have any success tonight. This line is the most potent line the IHL has seen in a long time. And get to Bruce Racine. The goaltender's 11-1 on the season. They need to get a lot of traffic in front of him.
Well, and the San Antonio Dragons are going to need to get to Frederic Chabot, back-to-back IHL goaltender of the week. And he has been playing terrific hockey, 16-11-1 with a 91% save percentage. On the other side of things, you talked about getting to Bruce Racine. He has been even hotter. In his last 7 games, he has 4 shutouts. 3 of the 4 have come on the road. In fact, you look at his last 7 games on the road, he scored 9 goals, which obviously has nothing to do with tonight's game. But what does was the last time he played, Tuesday night in this building, he had a 5-0 shutout over the Phoenix Roadrunners. Dave Tippett obviously has taken things and turned them around, and he will hope that things will continue. In talking with him about last night's game, he says the game went exactly as hoped. The only thing he wanted to see adjusted a little bit was the power play. We can talk more about that later. And on the bench, Jeff Brubaker for the San Antonio Dragons. We've talked at times about his intensity, and obviously his team has responded. Well, his intensity has just flowed over to his players. And, you know, talking with Lenny Barrie, the one thing he said today is that Jeff Brubaker came to him and said, can I give the captainship to Daniel Shank? And Lenny Barrie said, you know what, maybe you should. It'd give him some responsibility. And ever since he's done that, Daniel Shank has been a better player. We are ready to go at center ice. Len Barrie, Danny Shank, Lonnie Loach will go against the Mark Lamb, Guy LaRose, and Gary Schutchuk line. Aeros defend the goal to our right, the Dragons the goal to our left. And our referee tonight, Stefan Auger, Russ Johnson, Mark Wilkins are the linesmen. That's the crew we had last night in Houston, and we're underway from San Antonio. Puck in the arrow end, but knocked down by Loach. He trying to flip a puck in front, but Mark Lamb is there. He'll playing one off the boards and back to center ice. McIntyre is back to his own blue line, and the Dragons bring it right back. Len Barrie, definitely one of the 3 to watch tonight. The guy, one of the leading goal scorers in the IHL, and he is second in all-time points, just behind Rob Brown of the Chicago Wolves. Pass out at center. LaRose has it for Houston, and it's gobbled up by Basiggio, and he'll fling one out at center ice. Dragons are back, and this is McIntyre at his own end. He'll send it over to Big Brian Glynn. Shank to Barrie. It's shot ahead, brought in McIntyre, but it's stripped by Hurlbut. The Aeros quickly busted the other way. Al Conroy across the line, dumped it in, but it is offsides. And they'll bring a face-off back to center ice as we are just underway. Not quite a minute gone in the first period. We are scoreless. His team captain, Al Conroy. His hockey has been terrific, as we mentioned in the open, since he's come back from his knee injury. Well, he's just playing the way Al Conroy needs to play. And the one thing about Al Conroy, he makes players around him even play better. And the one player that he has really helped since his return is Mark Freer. And, you know, best friends help each other out, and both of these guys are working so well together now. Freer, Conroy, and Al May out there. That's another guy you could throw into who's really played well, is Al May, his hockey. Well, he's just such a plus player. He never gets caught out of position, and he knows that he might not score a whole bunch of goals, but he's not going to get scored against. No, and that's the thing. The funny thing is with him is lately he's been creating chances. That's just an added bonus. Rennie Chapdelaine has got the puck at center ice for San Antonio. He'll shoot it into Aero territory, and Jakes is back. He'll wind it along the boards, Freer, as he takes a hit from Osborne. They're skate to skate along the boards. Rennie Chapdelaine, a long shot, and that scoots wide of the net. Brent Bilodeau trying to hold it in, but the Aeros have it, and Jakes motors out to center ice. Give it to Freer across the line. Conroy, the shot right on Racine, stopped it, the rebound. Pushed away and jumped on by the Dragons, and they'll bring it out to center ice. Keith Osborne. He'll wind it into the arrow end as Chabot will slow it, and Steve Jakes will turn it around. Carl Valamont. He'll scoot it out to center. And Racine will knock it behind his net, slow it, and flip it along the boards. It came over along the far side, and it is controlled by Brian Shantz and pushed out at center ice. Here's Mark DeSantis across the line. Long shot, blocker saved by Chabot. Yo takes a bump along the boards. Still loose, picked up by San Antonio. A centering pass, trying to find Joey Kocur in front, can't get it to him. Along the wall, DeSantis held it in at a point. Down low, it's worked for Brian Shantz, looks in front. In after the loose puck is Brian Sullivan, tied up by Moose Morissette. Aeros trying to dig it out. Here is Rowenka as he takes a hit by Kocur. A long shot, blocked in traffic. Aeros have it. They'll bang it up the boards. Morissette trying to clear. Here's Joe Kocur. He'll slide it down, and Rowenka giving Shane Sullivan is there for San Antonio. Still no score with 2.5 gone in this first period. Puck is in the arrow end. Darcy Rowenka flips one at center. This will go down the ice. Icing indicated as DeSantis will go back. And he will touch, icing and call. And we send it down to the Aero bench, and we chat for the first time with Rob Dobson. And Dobber, looking at the game plan tonight, really things haven't changed much in the last 9-10 games.
No, the only thing we have to be aware of is the top line. As you see on the ice right now with Loach, Barrie, and Daniel Shank. They're kind of point hungry in the IHL. They have been for a lot of years. They really like to get their points and be a factor on the ice. One thing we do have to be aware of is the fact they like to dip and dive a lot. If there's an altercation around, you give them that second whack, they're going to dive to try to get the penalty. That's something we have to be very concerned about.
Robert, the thing that I'm concerned about is the hat you're wearing. Now, what is this all about?
Well, it seems to make my head look a little smaller on television, so I thought I'd give it a try.
Looks good. Thank you. Not too bad.
No, I like the look of the hat, and for anyone who wants to buy one of those hats, they sell them at the Aerodrome gift shop and out at the Summit hockey night. So I guess he's like a walking billboard.
He is.
Yeah.
Face off to the right side of Frederic Chabot. Lamb against Barrie, but Barrie wins the draw. Back to the line. Sean Reed, long shot, whistled wide of the net. Punch back to the line, held in by McIntyre, but the Arrow is able to pop it out to center ice. Sean Reed steers for Shank. That was intercepted by Mark Lamb, and he's out to center ice. Daniel Shank fires it into Arrow territory. Out of the net, Frederic Chabot. Here is Basicio. He'll shoot it back to neutral ice. Sean Reed is back in his own end, and here is Dave McIntyre. Send across ice pass for Reed, scampering through the neutral ice area, bring it across the line, but he was bumped off the puck and turned around by Lamb. And here's a chance, shoot Chuck, winding, shooting, and he hammered a bullet wide of the net. Sean Reed down the left side, intercepted by LaRose. A big hit on the boards as LaRose was screened by Reed. Into the corner, to the left of Racine, they battle for the puck. As McIntyre and Chuck grapple, loosen up LaRose, cutting in, his pass tipped away. And Daniel Shank will just shovel that out at center ice and back into the into the Arrow end.
And the Arrow's getting a couple good chances, driving the puck hard, just not hitting the net yet.
Brent Bilodeau goes back to play the puck in behind his net. He'll turn it around and out to center ice he comes. Brent Bilodeau jams one in. That was stopped by Chabot. Freer will go back to play it and clear it out to center. Here come the Arrows. Al May hands it to Conroy, but it was tipped back to center, and the Arrows will regroup. 4 minutes gone in the opening period from San Antonio. We are scoreless. Al May down along the boards, trying to move around Bilodeau, but he is there, but loosened up by May. Freer, a pass to the boards for Conroy. He tried to center when it was in the skates of Bilodeau, and he'll shoot that one the length of the ice. And that will be an icing call, and we will take a timeout. 15 and a half to play this first period, and we are scoreless from Freeman Coliseum. The speed that hits the fans, it's all hockey. Whether you need to entertain clients, reward employees, or just want a few nights out with friends and family, the Arrows have a season ticket package for you. You can enjoy discounts on Arrows merchandise and skating at the Aerodromes. Call 627-AERO for more information. Face-off left side of Bruce Racine in a scoreless hockey game. Bill Bowler, Graham Townsend, Mark Greig with Darcy Rowank and Dave Basicio. Puck is loosened up by the Dragons and brought out at center ice. Brian Chance brings it right side. Here's a shot that went just wide from Joe Kocur. Scored a goal the other night against the Quebec Rafales. He's not known as a goal scorer, but anything he gets is a bonus as well.
Well, when you talk about Joe Kocur, he's not a goal scorer, but he's got one of the hardest shots ever.
Mark DeSantis back in his own end, and it's picked up by the Dragons. They can't clear. Down along the boards, Mark Greig cutting in, he shoots. Racine stopped it loose in front. Racine is down on top of it, and play whistle down. You know, you look at Bruce Racine, we talked about Frederic Chabot, but Bruce Racine is as hot as they come also in the IHL. He's 11-1. Overall, I mean, he has not lost, he's lost just the once this year, and an amazing 2.15 goals against average, which puts him just behind Alan Bester of Orlando.
Well, I think with Bruce Racine that he's just playing so well because he's out on the top of his crease. Here he is, he's just standing up, ends up covering the rebound, but I guess that he's one of the few stand-up goalies left. You know, Rob Dobson's a stand-up goalie, and he played with Bruce Racine, so maybe he learned all this stuff from Rob Dobson.
Face off to the left side of Bruce Racine. Off the face-off. It's rolled to the corner. McIntyre is there. And he'll pick it up and move it out to center ice for Barrie. He'll bring it across the line. That looked offsides. It was offsides. They'll bring the face-off back out to center ice. 14:45 to go in the first period. No score, and we send it down to Rob Dobson. Dauber?
You know, you talk about confidence as a goaltender, and Troy will allude to this as well. It's one of the best things you can have. And I played with Bruce for about 3 years in Muskegon and Cleveland, and I can't believe the difference I've seen in him as a player and just talking to him as a person. You know, spending a year in the NHL, getting to play with Grant Fuhrer has really helped him tremendously, as you can see in his play thus far this season.
Is there any guy that you played with, Dauber, that affected your career like it has Bruce's?
Troy ruined it. Obviously, so far this year I played 3 games, so you got to look at that point.
Hey, Dauber. Wow.
Wow.
McIntyre right side. Boy, it's dangerous going to the bench. There's a puck in front. That's fished out by Lamb. And out at center ice. Shuchuk speeding back, dropped it. Lamb cutting in with a shot, and he whistled it wide of the net. LaRose down the left side for the Aeros, trying to loop it down. Lamb cuts one in. We're going to have a penalty coming up to the Dragons. McIntyre upending LaRose, and McIntyre screaming at Stefan Auger. And the Aeros are going to get the first power play of the night.
And a lot of times, Adam, I think it's a benefit to have the same referee in 2 nights, because he knows how the Aeros played last night, and the Aeros were not a dirty or a chippy team, and Dave McIntyre complaining here. But the one thing is that the referee is right there, and this is just interference. It's plain and simple. You know, LaRose keeps his feet moving, and McIntyre has to understand that if you hold a guy when he's trying to drive hard to the net, you're going to get caught every time, and Auger was right on the spot. And Jeff Brubaker, when I was talking to Lenny Barrie, he said that one thing that Jeff Brubaker cannot stand is those type of penalties. If it's a physical penalty where you're going in and you make a big hit and you get a charging or something, he can live with that. But with those type of penalties, he has a hard time with.
This is the one area Dave Tippett would like to see improve. The power play has just 20 goals on 144 opportunities, 13.8%. San Antonio's penalty killing is a very respectable 85%.
And with talking with Dave Tippett, he finds it very frustrating as his 5-on-5 play is so good, and then all of a sudden you take a player off the ice from the opposing team and his play does not stay up, and he's baffled about that one.
Puck is into San Antonio territory. Townsend trying to loosen it up. Here is Bowler. That's knocked back along the boards, and Darcy Werwenka tees one up, but sends it over to Dave Basigio. Basigio, top of the slot, setting up on this power play. It's a double minor for McIntyre. I didn't see that extra call. They must have got him in unsportsmanlike conduct for, as we like to say, yapping. And the Aeros here with a big break to go. A 4-minute double minor to Dave McIntyre.
Well, he was chirping pretty good at Auger, you know, saying that he didn't think it was a fair call, so did the proper thing, gave him another 2 minutes.
Puck is in out at center ice, and Freer was upended. Puck cleared, not out, held in by Basigio. Freer along the boards. Townsend in there trying to loosen it up, as Freer still trying to dig it out. One of the Aeros on top of it, and play halted with 13.5 to go in the first, and a scoreless hockey game.
Well, Graham Townsend's going to get quite a bit of ice time on the power play. And one thing they like about Graham Townsend out there is that he uses his size so well and leads the team with 5 power play goals. He gets in that good shooting angle, Adam, that when the point shot comes and there's a rebound, he always seems to have his body square to the goaltender, so that when the rebound is there, he's able to make a shot, and a lot of times make a good shot, because with his size, he can fend off a big defenseman fairly easy.
Face off in the circle to the left side of Bruce Racine. Shuchuk, Greig, and LaRose with Hurlbut and Lamb. This is the unit that really had a lot of success in the road trip, especially in Manitoba. I thought they were outstanding. Perhaps it can get it going here. Lamb down the right side, lets a shot go right on, and Racine is there. He'll hold on to it with 3:06 to go in the double minor to McIntyre. We're scoreless.
And there you go, that's confidence. He stood out on the top of his goal crease. Mark Lamb coming in for a big shot, being the right-handed shot. Mark Lamb has a good shot. Bruce Racine just stands up there and covers the angle, and Mark Lamb has nowhere to go. Mark Lamb has that good shot, and he blasts it here, but Bruce Racine is in great situation to make the save.
Off the face-off, Aeros get a shot away. That was blocked by Racine, and back out to center ice. And Hurlbut will drill one back in. Here's LaRose, takes a hit from Harlock. Battle on the boards. That is kicked free by Osborne to the line, not out. Lamb held it in, slipping it down for LaRose. LaRose drifting back to the line, but he shot it right to Harlock, and here come the Dragons when they clear. No, and Harlock was hauled down by Greig. Looked like it could have been a penalty. Puck still in the San Antonio end, and it's finally shot back out to center ice. Dragons still have 2:28 left to kill on this Aero power play. Here is Shuchuk, but he dropped it out at center ice, and that is offside. And the faceoff will come back to center.
Well, the one thing the San Antonio Dragons do very well, and Mike Hurlbut's going to attest to this after the game, is that they force him on the power play, and they force all over the ice.
I want to set it down and ask Dauber a question. Dauber, with the teams now, it seems like they're forcing a lot more on the penalty killing unit. Is there a way you guys are trying to adjust for that?
Well, I think it's just basically to get the puck deep in cycle. One thing that was mentioned before the game is that we were losing cycles down low in our own end on the power play. We discussed it to quite extent in before the game, and that's very important. in order to beat that force, you got to get it down low and work it. That's what we've done successfully in the past 5-on-5, and you need to do it even more so on the power play.
Thank you. Off the face-off, Rowanka floats one over to Basilio. Aeros power play down to 2:15. Darcy Rowanka at center drills one into San Antonio territory. Down the right side, Bowler trying to kick one down. Bowler sends one along the wall. That is tied up there. And Freer trying to loosen it up. Here is Bowler. He's hemmed in by Schenk, but back to the line. Rowanka winding, shooting, and saving was Racine. Basilio along the left side, looking for Freer. Back to the line. Rowanka, who played very well last night against Quebec. Bowler trying to dig it out, dodging a hit from Bilodeau. Bowler still in the corner. And it's back to the line. Darcy Rowanka at the right point. Give it over to Freer. Sets back up on the power play. Rowanka winding, shooting right on Racine. The save, and he will hold on. That's kind of what Donna was talking about, cycling the puck, getting it back, and you're getting an open shot using Darcy Rowanka there. And we talked about how well he played last night against Quebec.
Well, he could have been one of the stars last night for the Aeros. He got more ice time. Dave Tippett in the first period thought he played well, so he gave him some more ice time. And here he makes a very good shot on Bruce Racine, and Bruce Racine goes down with the paddle of his goalie stick down on the ice. You put your blocker down and your stick, and you lie it flat down on the ice, and there's just no place for Darcy Rowanka to go with that shot. And that's what goalies are starting to do now. They're taking away that whole entire bottom of the ice. It's very tough to beat them.
Face off in the circle to the right side of man they call Racer, Bruce Racine. Mark Lamb's got it. Power play down to 1.5 minutes. Conroy sets up as he looks in front. We're still scoreless from San Antonio. Conroy has Yo in front, lets a shot go right on. Racine the save, they bang away at a rebound, and again Racine is there to cover up and hold on.
Dave Tippett must be very happy with this start tonight that the Aeros have had so far. They've taken the play to the Dragons. Al Conroy in front of the net trying to bang away. They're just trying to get the puck on the net. Al Conroy blasts the shot here, and Bruce Racine just has a tough time holding on to the puck. Mike Yo trying to stuff it in on him.
Well, Conroy's a guy who wants shooting the puck more, not just because it's hot, but the shot, the goals he's been scoring have been unbelievable shots. Conroy left side, sets up again on the power play, which is down to $1.13. Here's Al May trying to toss one in front. Went to the corner for Hurlbut, but it steered right over to Harlock, and the Dragons clear it down the ice.
One thing that the Dragons do on any loose pucks, they jump all over the ice on them.
Now we've got a whistle and a penalty coming up to the Aeros behind the play. And it's a slashing minor to Al May. Tell you what, if I had $1,000 for every slashing minor that I saw last night, I'd be a wealthy man.
Well, you wouldn't be stuck in the booth with me, that's for sure. I believe there was 5 of them last night. We were counting them. At least 5 of them, and Al May gets nabbed tonight for the slash. Ajay's not going to take any guff tonight.
Last night, Dave Tippett said before the game against Quebec, he says, they take a lot of penalties. There were fouls. Discipline's going to be a key. Don't take penalties. I thought in the first period there were a couple unnecessary penalties that they took. And I'm sure that that will translate back over to tonight's game, because San Antonio, one of the most penalized teams in the IHL, but in the same sense, you look at their power play, it's just under 20%. That's 3rd best in the IHL. Now, you look at things, they're only going to get a minute of a power play, but a power play is a power play.
Well, anytime the Dragons, they have 5 of the most potent players in the IHL. You add McIntyre on the point and Bilodeau or Brian Glynn on the point. With those 3 forwards that they have, they're going to be deadly out there.
We go 4-on-4 for a minute, and then San Antonio will get their first power play of the night. Chabot behind the cage, had it loosened up, puck centered, and a shot right on. Chabot stopped it. Here come the Aeros. Hurlbut to center. He will bring it across the line. Hurlbut pulls up, looks for a pass. It came in front. Racine was there, and he will hold on. I noticed, as you mentioned, the Aeros trying a lot of long shots tonight. I would venture a guess that it's going to take a little bit more than that. Maybe a deflection or a nice pass in front before you beat Bruce Racine.
Well, and I think that Dave Tippett's idea is that if you get that long shot, though, is that people drive to the net. And Mike Hurlbut is trying to put this puck. He knows he has 2 players going to the net. Both of them are there. Bruce Racine lets that puck go a little farther out. There is a rebound, and the Aeros would have a great quality shot.
Face-off will be in the circle to the right side of Racine in 39 seconds. San Antonio will get a power play for a minute. Mark DeSantis in behind his net. And here come the San Antonio Dragons. Out at center ice. Harlock hits the line, long shot deflected. It goes up over the glass and out of play. They've got a scoreboard here they're trying to put up. They're waiting, they're thinking maybe by Christmas. And found its way into the middle of that scoreboard.
Mike Hurlbut, who's wearing the A, and the score clock, well, they're hoping that they wheel it out during the Christmas break and hang it up here, as there's no center clock at Freeman Coliseum. You just have to deal with the two little clocks at the ends, but it looks like they're putting a lot of work into it. And when you're above it, I was standing with Dave Tippett above it, and we're going, oh, you would not believe what goes into a score clock, all the wiring and all the systems.
Looks like your stereo at home.
Well, yeah, that stereo ain't working, that's for sure.
Good look at Freeman Coliseum. Not a bad place at all to watch a hockey game. It's loud in here. This building just reverberates. In 18 seconds, San Antonio's going to be on the power play as Freer was belted into his own bench. He was creamed from behind into his own bench, and the Dragons get the crowd fired up there. DeSantis across the line, moving right into the backhander. He missed the net. Along the boards, Harlock trying to move it in. That'll scoop behind the cage. Harlock trying to chase it down. It's picked up by Brian Shantz. Shantz to the line, scooped it back down. When you talk about the Dragons, they might be the hardest working team in the IHL. You can put them right up there with teams like Long Beach. You know, I'm not putting the Aeros in this group only because I'm comparing the teams that the Aeros have to face. But this is as hard a working team as you will find. Brian Glynn, a pass for Barrie, a shot right on, stopped by Chabot. Mike Yeo cleared it out at center as San Antonio on the power play for another half a minute. Racine comes out of the net, hands it over to McIntyre. He'll move to center, trying to get away from Bowler. Good line pass to Glynn. He's chopped by Yeo, and back to San Antonio territory we go.
And the Aeros are doing exactly what the Dragons do. Force all over the ice. You have to make players make 3-4 good passes to make a play.
Well, another penalty coming up, and here's the hit a moment ago on Mark Freer.
And well, Mark Freer is very lucky this happened in our bench as he gets rocked, and as he gets up, he gets thrown and tossed into the bench, and he's lucky that that is a friendly bench. And look at, is that Dave Morissette and Dave Basicio saying, get up out of here, get back out there. And that is a hit. But that's in the friendly confines of the Aeros bench. That happens in the Dragons bench. You don't get too much help.
Faceoff will be out at center ice as the Aeros get their second power play tonight. Brian Glynn, I think, slashing.
Yeah, and he got slashed 3 games ago. This is his first game back. He had a contusion on his wrist and could not play. And Brian Glynn, the one thing about him, he was part of the coffee trade, and he's down here, and he has 3 years left on his NHL contract. He's making a lot of money down here. And a lot of people just think that it's going to be tough for him to get back to the NHL, and he's already been on 7 NHL teams. How many more chances can you get?
Off the face-off, Basicio back into his own end, and he'll send it up the ice. And we get a whistle, and we take a timeout. 9:20 to go in the first. We're scoreless from Freeman Coliseum. We'll be back right after this. Scoreless, 9:20 to go, and a contingent of Aero fans saying the puck stops here. I don't think it stops there. It stops on the ice behind, yeah, that guy, Frederic Chabot.
Well, he's the best in the league right now. There's no one better than Frederic Chabot, and he's going to have a run at maybe that Goalie of the Month award, and he gets my vote.
Yeah, I'll give it to him now, and we're only halfway through it. If he wins this game tonight, I would venture, I don't want to say a shoe-in, but he'd be a pretty good candidate for the 3rd straight time goaltender of the week. Puck is in the Aero end, down the right side. Grigory Panalev scooped it down for Jason Miller. He's taken to the boards by Shuchuk as the Aeros on the power play for a minute and a half. Battle along the boards. It's loosened up and held in. Chapdelaine, a shot and a blocking save made by Chabot. That goes out of play. That'll leave a minute 23 left on the power play. But Frederic Chabot, I mean, we know back-to-back goaltender of the week. And I cannot recall, I'm trying to recall the last time, whether it was a goaltender or a player that won it 3 times in a row.
Well, I can never recall in my IHL career it ever happening in Frederic Chabot. First in the IHL in minutes, 1,654 minutes. First in saves at 751 saves. Second in wins at 16, and second in the league in shutouts. He's just been unbelievable.
Puck is in the Aero end. They've got a minute 20 on the power play, but they've got to try and get it out of their zone. Here comes Mark Greig out at center, a pass to the right side. Shuchuk as he hits the line. Shuchuk dropped at Lamb. He'll look in front. Mark Lamb sets up on the power play. Drifting back to the point, hand it to Mark Greig. He'll cycle back to the point again. Lamb cuts to the top of the slot, has a lane, shoots, blocked in front, never made it to Racine. Chip down along the boards. Miller is there. Can he clear it? Yeah, it's out at center ice, but Lamb made a nice play to get it right over to Hurlbut.
And that was Panalev who blocked the shot. Jeff Brubaker doing a great job with him to get him to block shots.
Oh, he has done a great job with a couple of guys. We can talk about that later. Puck goes into the San Antonio zone. Racine comes out of the net, flings it along the boards. That's knocked down. Aeros get it back to the line. Lamb from the left point. Whipped it down for Greig. He looks in front. Greig knifed it down. Here's Shuchuk centered. The shot played away. Oh, they had LaRose all along on the doorstep. He was by himself, and he couldn't corral the puck.
And he even had Mike Hurlbut coming in also from the point. The loose puck there. No arrow could bat it in the empty net, though.
Lucicio back in his own end. And Mark Lamb will turn it around with only 9 seconds left on the power play. Freer had it bounce over his stick. It's right back out at center ice.
I saw some wet spots on the ice after the Zamboni was done. And I wonder if the ice is soft tonight. We might see some bouncing pucks.
Racine comes out of the net as the penalty is over. Teams are 5 aside. Jammed down along, and it's picked up by Harlock, and Mark DeSantis will take over and shovel it back to neutral ice. Here come the Aeros. Lucicio gives the puck to Freer. Dropped it for Bowler. Bowler looks for a man to pass to. He'll just dump it in deep. Freer trying to play it, but Harlock rides him off the puck. Townsend in there to try and chip it away. Here is Townsend, base of the right circle, San Antonio territory. Townsend to the line. Rowenka scooped it down out of the net. It's Racine. He will slow it, flip it along the boards. It's back to the line, and Rowenka tees it up. He shoots right on, and there was Racine to make the play and the save as Freer was on the doorstep again.
And it's not for a lack of shots. The Aeros are getting shots. They just can't get them by. Bruce Racine.
Icing the call as Rowenka touches. We take 6:41 to go in the first. We are scoreless, and we'll be back with more after this. Aeros returning to the Summit a week from last night, Friday night, as they take on the Las Vegas Thunder. Tickets are available by calling Ticketmaster 629-3700. Game time 7 o'clock. It's the Aeros and the Thunder from the Summit at 7. Off the face-off, Dragons have it, and it's poked out at center ice and into the Aero end, but it's down to Chabot. That'll negate the icing. Chabot will fling the puck along the boards. It's chipped to the line, not out. McIntyre held it in. He tried to move it down, but Yo was there to clear it out at center. Brian Glynn goes back to his own end. We are still scoreless, 6:20 to go in the first period. May had it go off his stick. It is at neutral ice, and the Dragons advance it. Barrie 2-on-1 with Shank, but Yo got back. But Shank stuck behind Yo. There was a miscommunication. Yo was part of the 2-on-2. I don't think he knew it, and he let Shank go, but the Aeros come away unscathed. Now back is Bruce Racine. And along the boards, Yo centered, but McIntyre steered it up for Len Barrie, and here come the Dragons out at center. Len Barrie, give it to Lonnie Loach, back for Barrie down the left side. Gobbles up the puck, trying to slice one in there, but Lamb tipped it away, and here comes Yo out at center. Hits the line. Yo trying to move in as Rowenka cuts to the net. Here's Lamb, center, Shuchuk can't get this shot away. Lamb turns right side, a pass, and a one-time shot on the short side. Just missed barely by Shuchuk. Daniel Shank let it go down along the boards. Hurlbut will hold it. Here is Shuchuk trying to cut in. That's knocked away and pushed right back out at center ice and into the Arrowhead. This will be an icing call as Hurlbut will go back, and they'll bring a face-off back into the Arrowhead.
And that line of Barrie, Loach, and Shank playing a little defense, one thing that a lot of teams didn't think that they would be able to do. They've done it very well. And Mike Hurlbut in his last 13 games, Adam, has 1 goal, 9 assists for 10 points. And in his last 15, he's a +10. So you talk about players getting stronger as the season goes on. Mike Hurlbut has to be up near the top of your list.
And he has been rewarded by being one of 6 Aeros named on the IHL All-Star voting ballot. Brought to you by Days Inn. We can chat about that a little bit later in the show, in the intermission.
And I encourage everyone to vote for that.
Face off to the left side of Bruce Racine. Here's Mike Hurlbut, a shot right on, and Racine will make the save, and he will hold on to it. 5:08 to go in the first period. Scoreless.
If you look at Bruce Racine's mask, that's the mask he wore last year in St. Louis with the Blues. He played 11 games as Grant Fuhr's backup. Really never played that much in St. Louis, but he still has the goalie mask.
He would have never played a game. I think Grant Fuhr they were expecting him to play all the games last year, and then he had that knee injury. I want to say Toronto, but don't hold me to that. I think it was against Toronto.
Well, I believe it was, and the one thing is that most of his games came as mop-ups.
Puck is picked up by Rennie Chapdelaine in the San Antonio zone. He'll give it to Panalev. Out at center ice. That's knocked into Aero territory, but Hurlbut rejects it to neutral ice. Mark Lamb trying to advance the puck for Shuchuk. It's loose at center. Aeros bring it in. That is offsides, and we can take time out. 4:50 to go in the first period. We are scoreless from San Antonio. Scoreless in San Antonio, the Aeros and the Dragons. And Frederic Chabot, maybe not the only guy that was really happy about the fact that the game was going back to Quebec. Moose Morissette.
Well, all of his family was watching. One thing about Dave Morissette is that in 252 games, he has 1,100 penalty minutes, so he's known it for his toughness, and Frederic Chabot likes to see that. Got to protect him a little bit.
Puck is into San Antonio territory. Greig trying to fire one in there. Dave Morissette crammed it along the boards. It's Sullivan that's trying to move it out of the wall. He is hemmed in there by Jakes. Pinned back to the line, and here is Bill Boyer. Oh, he lost the handle. It's back out at center ice. Dave Visigio scooped it ahead and into San Antonio territory. And it's Brian Glynn to center ice. It goes into Aero territory and smacked along the boards by Dave Visigio, but he couldn't clear it. He'll try it again. And another pass deflected away. Aero's having a little trouble getting it out of their end right now, but here's Mark Greig, and he'll just put it off the boards and back into San Antonio territory. But this will produce an icing call as the Dragons go back to touch and icing the call with 4:01 to go in the first period at a scoreless hockey game. Join John Granato weeknights on Sports Night Live at 9 and 11:30 as he gets behind the scenes of your favorite sports. That's Sports Night Live with John Granato weeknights at 9 and 11:30 p.m. only on Houston's own ANWS.
And I don't know if you caught Freddie Chabot on Sports Night Live last week, and they go, Freddie, like, you're getting bumped around a lot. Like, what do you think about it? And he goes, well, I'm really not too concerned because I have Dave Moose Morissette on my team, and he'd take care of business for me.
Ah, boy, and you know, it's fun watching these guys really stick together. And there is no doubt, I talked with Graham Townsend before the game last night, and there's no doubt the road trip, that 5-game road trip, is probably, if you had to pick one thing that really turned it around, that came at a perfect time. And Townsend agrees wholeheartedly. Puck is out at center ice. Dragons trying to advance it. Len Barrie out at center. Mike Hurlbut will scoop it ahead. Brian Glynn trying to clear it. Along the boards, Barrie is tied up. Here comes Al Conroy across the line. That's a shot going. A glove save made by Racine. And he will hold on to it. 3.5 to go in the first period. No score.
And you've mentioned about Al Conroy in his shot. And the one thing that being a former goaltender and the small players like Al Conroy, they get that shot off so quick. And he's going to get a nice little shot here. But he gets it away so quick. He doesn't take that huge windup. And his body and his stick is so small that when he cranks into that puck, it is a hard shot. And when he uses that quick snapshot, and that's how he's been scoring those goals, he gets on that back foot and he drills it, and he snaps it with his big wrists, and he can go top shelf with the best of them upstairs.
Puck is in San Antonio territory. Here's Hurlbut from the point, a shot deflected. Racine makes the save, and he will hold on to it. Tell you what, the games lately, just they haven't been pretty. I mean, they are games that have not been pretty. Last night's was not the prettiest of wins, but it's a win that Dave Tippett will take. But the amazing thing is the fans loved it last night.
The fans in Houston just want to see a winner, and as you look at the bench here, I can say, being around these guys, you have a bunch of winners on this Aero hockey team, and you were alluding to that road trip of being a key part of the season. But there was one other key part, I believe, and I talked to the players, is Dave Tippett staying positive to give them a chance to go on that road trip and win some games.
Here is Carl Valamont. He'll shoot the puck in. But it was also, I think, Dave Tippett telling each guy, look, I believe in every one of you guys. It's going to happen, and it's finally happening. Puck is out at center ice. Panalev popped it ahead. Osborne got it into Aero territory. Out of the net, Chabot. He will slow it, curl, but finds it along the boards. Can he clear it? No. It's held in by Miller. Long shot deflected and blocked. Greer trying to clear it as we're down to 3 minutes to play in the first. Still no score. Panalev trying to cut in. He looks in front. He's bumped along the wall. Panalev trying to get through Valamont as they're skate to skate along the end board. Puck is loose enough. Miller trying to cut in. Poke check by Al Conroy. He'll roll it up the boards, and Freer moves it to center ice for Alan May. Hits the line, fakes the shot, cutting in. Looks for a shot that goes wide through the crease. Dug out by Freer. Got it down low for Al May. Looks in front for Lamb. Here's May, waiting behind the net. Still with a puck. He's got a man in front, Visigio, but can't get it to him. And they go to the far corner, and Rennie Chapdelaine is there. Chapdelaine poked it out at center ice, and it
goes into the arrow end.
And the Arrows, when they're in their own zone, their defensive zone coverage has been really good tonight, Adam.
Mark Lamb, center ice shoots it in, and here's Shuchuk down the left side trying to move in there, but that's rolled away by David Harlock. And out to center ice, Joe Kocur across the line. Kocur moving in with a shot right on Chabot, the save, rebound in front, but it's popped away by the Arrows in the line. Harlock a drive deflected, went wide of that. Now Shantz a drive, that's popped away. It'll come along the boards for DeSantis. Lamb trying to wrestle that away. It's to the line. Kocur held it in with a wrist shot, and that is gloved by Frederic Chabot. So perhaps the best flurry of chances tonight by either hockey club, and it comes from the San Antonio Dragons, but Freddie Chabot there for the task.
Well, Joey Kocur gets a few shots away. The one thing about him is he's been noted as a tough guy. We talk about quick shots. He snaps that puck off his stick very quickly. When he's in the NHL, he's just noted as a tough guy. Down here, he feels a lot more comfortable with taking those shots.
Not many people know this about Joe Kocur, but he is the cousin, and if you follow the Solar Bears of the IHL, he's the cousin of Kerry Clark, so of course the cousin of Wendell Clark as well.
And there was when he was playing in Detroit, Wendell Clark was in Toronto, there was a lot of, they would never ever fight. They had that mutual respect, and a lot of people wanted to see that. And their quote was, "We did it all the time as kids, it's old hat."
Yeah, that's right. Although him and Bob Probert, that went the other way. Here is Mark Lamb. He brought it in across line, that poked out to center ice, and Mark Lamb goes back to his own blue line. Lamb shoveled it out to center, and Shuchuk is there. Gary Shuchuk hemmed along the boards. He'll try it again. 1:20 to go in the first, still scoreless. Shuchuk down the boards, scraped by Harlock. That's kicked away by the Dragons. In there was Rennie Chapdelaine, or actually Brian Sullivan in there as well. We've got a whistle. And a face-off in the San Antonio end.
Well, they're going to say it's a hand pass, and players stepping up. Gary Shuchuk, who in the last 14 games, 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points. And he's one of those guys that is just a character guy. You know, when he played in the NHL, he played hard. When he played in the IHL, he played hard. When he played squirt, when he was a young kid, he played hard. He's played the game. Every game that he's played like his last game, and that's why he's a pro hockey player.
Bill Bowler, Mike Greig, Graham Townsend out there as you get a look at Daniel Shank. Face off out at center, top of the puck, and the Arrows had it, but Shank popped it ahead, and now Steve Jakes will take over. Jakes will wind it into San Antonio territory. Brian Glynn move it to the line, not out, held in by Graham Townsend, moving into the slot, a backhander right on, received the save, they bang away at a rebound. And Bill Bowler nearly popped one in. You know, the last time these two teams played, it was a 2-1 win for the Arrows, and Bill Bowler was the guy that scored both the goals, and he did it in fine fashion and nearly jammed one behind Racine there.
And Graham Townsend's going to get the shot here, but who's going to be in front of the net is Bill Bowler trying to whack away at it, get at the loose puck, but he just could not get through. Dave McIntyre, the San Antonio Dragon defenseman. Bill Bowler with 6 multi-point games this year so far, so when he scores, he usually does it in bunches.
Face-off is played by Brian Glynn, and here come the Dragons. They're out at center, McIntyre, the lead pass. As Glenberry will shovel it in, but it's blocked by Hurl, but Arrows quickly turn it around. Graham Townsend, a flick of the wand, and it's back into the San Antonio end. McIntyre, the pass goes into the Arrow end. Chabot will slow it. That'll negate the icing.
29.
Half a minute to go in the first period. Still no score, but Bowler's got it 2-on-1 with Townsend. Bowler across the line. He's in. Greig shoots, and it was deflected. And it's back to the line. Balamont had to regroup at center ice. He's wrapped up by Barrie, and here comes Shank. Give it to Barrie across. 13 seconds left. Puck is cleared to center ice. Mark Greig through the neutral zone, hits the line with 6 seconds left. Greig centered one. The shot went just wide as Townsend was in there, and that will be the end of the first period as the buzzer sounds. So the Arrows with a flurry at the end. But Dave Tippett, I'm sure, pleased with, again, his team, the consistent effort that he's seen in the last 10 games.
Well, I think he's more than pleased, Adam. I think that the Arrows took the play to the Dragons that period. When you look at quality chances, the Arrows missed the net on about 4 or 5 of those quality chances. They put those on the net. They could have a couple of goals. I think the Arrows played very well for playing last night and playing a rested team in the Dragons.
Scoreless from San Antonio, and we will have more right after this.
Use
Houston Aeros Hockey on KNWS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines, with low fares on every seat, every flight, every day. And by Columbia Healthcare. Healthcare has never worked like this before. And by your local Texas Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep and Eagle dealers. Test drive one today. And by Whataburger, the homegrown Texas taste since 1950. Well, it's been the story here in the last several games. The Aeros in a scoreless tie after 20 minutes of action with the San Antonio Dragons. Welcome back, Adam Gordon and Troy Gamble. And, the Aeros won 9 in a row. You look at that score, scoreless. That doesn't surprise me, the way these two teams play.
Well, both teams are playing defensive hockey, and that's what Dave Tippett wants to see. He thinks in order for his team to win, they got to be the Florida Panthers of the IHL. They're not going to score a whole bunch of goals. They got to make sure they don't give up a whole bunch.
The Aeros have won 9 in a row, and if you're thinking that is the top streak in the IHL, no, it's not. It's half as many as the Peoria Rivermen did it in 1990. The Rivermen, by the way, won the Turner Cup that year. Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL had 17 games back in 93. The Orlando Solar Bears this year had 16, and of course that was broken a week or so ago by the Quebec Rafales. But the Aeros with a chance to make it 10 in a row, and oh man, if they could do that, Troy, I'm sure the city of Houston would. They've started coming back out in droves, 11,500 last night. If they can win tonight, make it 10 in a row, it goes in toward the Christmas holiday. People will be, I think, thinking Aeros hockey for a long time.
Well, the great thing about if the Aeros win tonight is that they have 6 days off. Dave Tippett's going to give them Sunday, Monday off. They have time to heal up, maybe find another defenseman. And this team going back home for next Friday night would be potent. It'd be an unbelievable place to be, the Summit.
As well as the Aeros have been playing as of late, guys individually are going to be rewarded for their good play. And that takes us to the days in balloting for the IHL All-Star game in Grand Rapids this year. And there are the 6 names right there: Al Conroy, Guy LaRose, Gary Shuchuk, Dave Basigio, Mike Hurlbutt, and Frederic Chabot. The way the team is playing right now, there's some names that have been omitted that you could honorably mention. Now, realize, of course, by voting on this, that just votes and elects the starting lineup. That doesn't select the team. There could be some guys that aren't on that ballot that might get picked by the IHL Western Conference coach.
Well, that's right, and the thing there is that this Western Conference, the coaches are scared of this Aero hockey team, and they know that this Aero team has a lot of character. A lot of coaches like to reward those character players, so I think we're going to see quite a few of those names, and maybe 1 or 2 that are not there on that All-Star team.
All right, scoreless after 20 minutes of play, and we'll have the stats and highlights right after this. Welcome back to Freeman Coliseum. Scoreless tie after 20 minutes of action. Welcome back, Adam Gordon, Troy Gamble, and I'm kind of curious on what Dave Tippett would tell his troops. Again, to us, it looks like it was the same kind of hockey, although there were some good chances by the San Antonio Dragons in that first period.
Well, Frederic Chabot had to be sharp at times in that period. The Dragons got some good shots on him, but it was Phil Bowler here that's going to make a great pass to Mark Greig, who Mark Greig one time, it doesn't get all the wood he wants on it, ends up going over the net. But then Chabot ends up making a save on Kocur, who blasts the shot. Frederic Chabot just going down in the butterfly, deflecting it wide. Al Conroy, we talked about his shot. This is a blast. Glove save by Bruce Racine. Might have went a little wide, but it was still a good shot by Al Conroy. Joey Kocur, though, once again, is going to get a shot away. And this guy's noted as a tough guy, but he can also play the game. And that's what the IHL gives him. And I think that he's very happy about being here for that.
Looking at the Aeros logbook brought to you by Southwest Airlines. 12-7 shots on goal in favor of the Houston Aeros. And just 4 shots in the power play for the Houston Aeros. That came on a double minor. That is, again, I know this sounds like a broken record, but I think that's the one area the Aeros definitely need to work on is their power play. If they can get that thing going, they're not going to win games 2-1. They're going to win games 4-1, and that has got to be the key right now.
Well, that's the key with Dave Tippett. He feels that they just don't work as hard on the power play, and if guys don't work as hard on the power play, you're just not going to get those chances because those 4 guys that are penalty killing are working really hard. So the Aeros just need to find a little more room, get some shots, and get some traffic in front of Bruce Racine.
All right, when we return, second period action. We're scoreless after 1 from Freeman Coliseum. We'll be right back. Ready to start the second period from Freeman Coliseum. The team's starting to file on to their bench. And while we've got a second, I want to let everyone know that, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Friday, December 20th, the Aeros take on the Las Vegas Thunder in a Christmas wonderland at the Summit. We have Santa Claus, the Houston Youth Symphony, and much more. Bring a fruitcake and receive 2 $10 tickets for the price of 1. Proceeds benefit the Star of Hope mission. That's Friday, December 20th at 7 p.m. Happy hockey days from your Houston Aeros.
And I don't know if you knew this, Adam, but Canadians celebrate their weddings by giving out little pieces of fruitcake. So I don't know, a lot of Canadians hopefully will come to the game that night and bring some fruitcake with them.
We are underway with the second period. Teams are at 5 aside. And a scoreless start to the period as Mark Lamb chases down a loose puck in the San Antonio zone. Lamb, Shuchuk, and LaRose to start it for the Aeros. Lonnie Loach is there for San Antonio. He'll fire the puck to center. Dave Basiggio back in his own end, and the Aeros trying to advance it, but Loach got it back. Shot into Aero territory, and Frederic Chabot will slow in behind the net. Loach, face the right circle, centered. McIntyre steered one, but it went just behind Barrie. Shuchuk trying to roll it up the boards. It's to the line, not out, held in by Daniel Schenk, but it finally moved out to center ice. Dragons in their own end. Brian Glynn, forecheck by Lamb, gives to Loach, back to center. Aeros are there to take it. Dave Basiggio will turn it around, and it slides in. Here's a chance for LaRose moving down the boards. Cuts in front, couldn't find the handle. We've got a penalty. And then heads up, Brian Glynn nearly fired that up to you, Troy. And we've got a penalty coming up, and let's send it down to the bench. And Rob Dobson and Dauber, what's going on in the locker room? Has Dave Tippett pleased with that first period?
Well, I think we're pleased. It's a good road period. Anytime you can come into a building and be out 0-0 after the first period, it's good. One thing that was addressed was the fact that we didn't feel our wingers were driving to the net hard enough. You get a guy who's playing as well as Bruce is. It's important that you get in there and get second chances to score. In order to do that, you have to drive to the net hard and create your opportunities. And we didn't do that as well as we used to do, and as well as we will this period.
Thanks, Dauber. Aeros are on the power play, and here's why.
Well, Dave McIntyre going for the loose puck, but Guy LaRose uses his feet to kick the puck up, and as soon as he does that, Dave McIntyre gives him the hook with the stick on the left ankle. But that's a great play by Guy LaRose to kick it up to his stick and force McIntyre to take a penalty.
Bill Bowler, Mark Fear, Graham Townsend, Darcy Rowanka, and Carl Valamont do the power play. Rowanka, pass, tip back, Valamont tees it up, lets a shot go, hammered wide, rebound, jumped on by Freer. Mark Freer back to the line for Rowanka, steered it for Freer, getting set on the power play. Here's Bowler, sends Freer the shot, he scores! Mark Freer takes a big pass from Bowler and put it top shelf, and the Aeros take a 1-0 lead, a power play goal.
What a shot by Mark Freer, putting it upstairs where you keep the peanut butter. There's no way the goalie was Bruce Racine going to make the save there, but Bill Bowler makes that tape-to-tape pass. Bill Bowler's going to give it back to Mark Freer, the old give and go, and then Mark Freer upstairs, goaltender Bruce Racine with no chance. The old give and go play, the whole entire thing goes off Mark Freer to get the puck down low to Bill Bowler, and then end up going upstairs on Bruce Racine.
Puck is back in the San Antonio zone. Here is Brian Shantz. He'll send it back to David Harlock. Aeros lead it 1-0 as Mark Freer gets his 7th goal of the year and a whistle stopping play. While we got a second here, Troy, I want to mention we have a mutual friend back at home, Neil Wilkins. I just want everyone to know he's our statistician and a very good friend of even not just you and I, but Rob Dobson and the Aero team. But January 12th and the 13th, one of those 2 days, an annual PGA meeting is coming up, and he is going to be awarded as the Assistant Professional of the Year for Southern Texas, the section of PGA. That's an outstanding award, and congratulations to him. He's a good friend of all of ours.
And I don't think you could get another guy that deserves an award like Neil Wilkins. What a great guy and great teacher out at Lakeside.
He should get an award just for putting up with me.
Well, putting up with you, but giving you golf lessons, that has to be tough enough.
Well,
maybe that's why he's getting the award.
Dauber saw me yesterday, and he's wondering, when am I going to take another lesson? Face-off is at center ice as we're getting ready. I was ready to throw one of my clubs in the water, and Dauber says, maybe you should throw yourself in.
Puck is out at center ice, and here come the San Antonio Dragons, David Harlock. He'll roll it over to DeSantis and into Aero territory, and Jinx is back. 1-0 on Mark Freer's 7th goal of the year. A power play goal to boot. Puck is out to center, and here come the Dragons, right to left. Brought in across the line, that's knocked away. Kocur brings it in, and that is offside. And they'll bring the face-off to center, but Jeff Brubaker, the head coach of the Dragons, screaming at the linesman, saying, whoa, 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 I don't think that was offside.
Well, we had a good view from up here, and it was offsides. Maybe we can't tell Jeff that. And I don't think he'd listen to us anyways if we told Jeff Brubaker it was offside. Joey Kocur, who won a Stanley Cup with the Rangers in '94, I believe it was.
Just to mention, you know, the Dragons lost their assistant coach, John Torchetti, to the Fort Wayne Comets, and they have now hired Todd Gordon as their new assistant coach. He just started.
And I believe that he played for Jeff Brubaker. That's how he ends up getting the job. And Jeff Brubaker thought he was a class guy. He one day was going to make a very good coach, so he gave him the job.
Here's Lonnie Loach down the left side. Centered a pass and went right through the crease. Back to the line is Dave McIntyre. Scooped it down for Len Barrie. He looks in front, centered Loach, chipped one and went wide. Townsend trying to clear it. He was muscled by Glenn, and it's back to center ice. Dave McIntyre along the boards. He's pursued by Greig. And the Dragons trying to clear, but Townsend jumps on it, trying to scoop it down. Here come the San Antonio Dragons, 3-on-2. Here's Barrie across the line, gives to Loach, pass in front, hit just wide. Boy, I wasn't sure. It looked like an outnumbered rush. We haven't seen it in so long against the Aeros, but that's one of the few you will see against the Aeros as of late. Here come the Aeros across the line. That is offside. 2.5 gone in the second period, a 1-0 Aero lead.
And that's the last thing you want to do. Graham Townsend flying back to try to make it a 3-on-3, but it was a 3-on-2 against those guys are very deadly. And Len Barrie takes the puck to Lonnie Loach, who throws it in front of the net. He tries to get it to Daniel Shank, and we all know about Daniel Shank's hockey stick, how long it is. He almost ends up batting it in the net. Barrie getting the line, Loach throwing it across to Daniel Shank, and Graham Townsend hurrying up Daniel Shank by chasing him down. Very good play.
Face off at center ice, just outside the San Antonio line, and the Aeros win it. Jakes creams one in to the Dragon zone. Rennie Chapdelaine to play it in behind the net, and he'll turn the puck around, and it's out to Jason Miller. Center ice, threw it off skates, but it's shot into Aero territory by Osborne. Jakes is back to play, shoveled it along the boards, bounced back to the line, it's out at center, and the Dragons go back to their own blue. Pass to center, jumped on, and here comes Shuchuk. Had to wait for LaRose to get on sides, and the Dragons able to clear it, and here they come, 2-on-1. Panalev, he's in, waiting, shooting, right on Chabot, saving rebound, and Panalev a shot going wide. So maybe a little bit of concern from Dave Tippett here as a couple of outnumbered rushes in the last couple of seconds, but Chabot making the save. 1-0, the Aeros. They lead it on a power play goal. You can bring your church group or employees club, softball team, or any squadron of 20 to an Aeros game. Fast-paced hockey action. Just call 627-AERO for more group information. Underway with the play in the Aero end, and it's back out at center ice. Conroy shoots it in, knocked down by Bruce Racine. Here's a centering pass, knocked away again by Racine, and Brian Shantz will move it up. 1-0, the Aeros lead it with 3.5 gone in the second period. Here come the Aeros in transition. Freer, who has the Aero tally, down the right side, pulls up a cross-eyed pass. Here's Basilio, shoots, Harry White, rebound, and there was Conroy as he was belted, but not a shot away. Jammed down, and Mark DeSantis is there. It's cleared up the boards, out to center. Aeros flip it back into Dragon territory, and it's moving out at center for Harlock. Here come the Dragons. Sullivan, the shot, and that's deflected away. Here is Mike Yeo on the boards, escorts it ahead for Mark Greig through the neutral zone. Dropped it, Bill Bowler across the line. Bowler looks in front, but his pass picked up by Hurl, but he centered for Greig, couldn't get the shot away. The Dragons come out with it. 3 men back, though, for the Aeros. Here's a long shot, and Chabot will make that save. And he'll hold on to it and then drop it for Warwenka. Pass to center, Greig. It's over 2 lines. Oh, that was close, but they will call a 2-line pass. And play is whistled out. And a moment ago, Dave Basilio nearly created a scoring chance for the Aeros.
Well, Mark Freer makes the great pass cross ice to Dave Basilio, who ends up blasting the puck wide. But Al Conroy on the side of the net almost puts it in, but that was almost an impossible angle for Al Conroy as his hockey stick was at the goal line.
You know, and this is not any slight to Conroy, but you look at the replay there, and
If he had another second more, he might have seen Freer that was wide open in that little slot area, and Freer would have had a wide open chance.
And those two working so well together lately, that would have been a Barrie chance for sure.
Face off, top of the circle, near side. Frederic Chabot, Barrie, Loach, and Shank for the Dragons. Glynn and McIntyre at the line. Bowler with Greig and Townsend. Off the face-off, Aeros have it. Hurlbut scooped it to center, but it's slammed back by Brian Glynn, and here comes McIntyre. The pass missing Loach, and it'll go down the ice. Icing if Houston can get there. Hurlbut is back, and play is whistled down. 15.5 to go in the second period, and a 1-0 Aero lead. Again, Mark Freer getting his 7th of the year with a power play goal. It is only his 2nd power play goal this season, but it comes at a fine time as the Aeros would love to see this thing go to 10 in a row.
And Dave Tippett, and we talked about how the players have responded to Dave Tippett's style and the way that he has stayed positive. And you talk to any player on that bench, and they're going to say the biggest reason why they've been on this 9-game winning streak is obviously their play, but from the coaches.
Puck is rolling along the boards, and here is Daniel Shank. He'll move it up and out at center ice. Puck is brought into the arrow end. Knocked for Shank, trying to find Barrie, who's in front. Dropped it back. Glynn couldn't find the handle. McIntyre meanders with a shot wide. Rebound along the boards. Greig trying to clear it. He'll go to Townsend. It's popped to center, and Bowler's got a man to beat. Dave McIntyre. Bowler across the line. Townsend goes to the net. Bowler is in. Backhand hit the side of the cage. Townsend trying to dig it out. McIntyre. He'll chip it along the boards, right over to Daniel Shank, and the Dragons clear to center. Len Barrie at center ice, shot the puck. Here's Loach cutting in, makes his move. He is belted by Mike Hurlbut. A big shoulder hit from Hurlbut, and down he went. Bowler the other way. The pass. Here's LaRose. The shot stopped by Racine. Rebound. Stopped again by Racine. Wow, 2 big saves there by the eraser, Bruce Racine. Dragons the other way. Panalev. Poke check by Werwenka. And the Aeros bring it right back. Werwenka, the pass knocked away by Shank, and he's in alone. Daniel Shank shooting, and he whistled it wide. It's back to center, and all of a sudden things have opened up, maybe a little more than to Dave Tippett's liking. Dragons, Sean Reed fired it out at center, knocked away, and the Aeros have it. Shuchuk, the pass, Lamb trying to cut in. He centered a pass, and he just missed LaRose. Basigio, the drive, right on, receive the save. It's out at center. Things really opening up right now.
All of a sudden, the pace has picked up about, what, 10 folds?
Puck is out at neutral ice. And the Dragons have it. Jason Miller for Osborne across the line. LaRose popped it but couldn't clear it. DeSantis with a long shot, and there was Chabot to make the save, and Aeros roll it away. Werwenka, give it to Shuchuk, and he'll break out with it. Gary Shuchuk through the neutral zone. They're going to cross the line, but Lamb is offsides, and the play is whistled down. And boy, a lot of chances for the Houston Aeros. And actually, the Dragons had a couple of chances, but it all started on a big hit from Mike Hurlbut.
Well, Len Barrie makes a great play in here to Lonnie Loach. Lonnie Loach tries to come back inside, and Mike Hurlbut just stands him up and knocks him down. Bill Bowler makes the great pass over to Guy LaRose, blasts the puck down low. Dave Basigio is coming back in, and what a great second effort by Bruce Racine to get his left leg down on the rebound shot to make a terrific save and rob Dave Basigio. But again, it all starts by that big hit on Lonnie Loach by Mike Hurlbut.
Well, Loach is leaving the ice right now, being escorted by the trainer. I don't know if the hit is the reason. I don't know if that's their trainer or the equipment manager. They left the ice so quick they couldn't get a look at him to see, but I think that is their trainer, and that might be a medical problem.
Well, and I also saw one of the team doctors follow in behind. I met him last game down here, and he was following Loach into the locker room, so that could be a medical problem from that big hit that Mike Hurlbut just crunched him with.
Here's Steve Jakes, pounds a puck ahead. Conroy tapped it in. It would be a high stick if the Aeros played it, but Harlock is there and play moves on. Puck is cleared, and here come the San Antonio Dragons out to center ice. It's shot in by Kocur, but it's slapped away by Frederic Chabot. Battle along the board. Chance trying to hold it in, but it poked out the center, and Mark DeSantis is there. Here comes Kocur. A pass nipped away, and it's over the line offsides, and we'll take timeout. Played a little over 7 minutes in the second period. The Aeros with the 1-0 lead.
He tries to get his paddle flat.
KNWS and the Houston Aeros return to the airwaves Saturday night for New Year's Eve from Kansas City as the Aeros take on the Kansas City Blades. It all begins at 6 o'clock right here on KNWS. That's actually Tuesday, not Saturday. I'm a little confused.
And that's going to be an interesting place to have New Year's Eve. Kansas City, Missouri. Have you ever been there for Kansas City from Missouri?
Not for New Year's Eve.
Not for New Year's Eve.
Puck comes in front and a shot goes wide. Puck is picked up by the Aeros and shot out to center ice. Al May fired it in. Mark Freer goes after it, looks in front, kicked it down. Al May with the pass, the center shot, tipped away. Conroy had a chance. Kocur is there, and he'll shoot it out at center ice as Jakes is back. 12:19 to go in the second period. Aeros with a 1-0 lead. Here's Mark Freer down the right side, shakes off a check of Harlock, but lost the puck. Harlock trying to kick it free, but Harlock all locked up along the boards. Freer had it tipped away, and here is Brian Sullivan. He'll move it up and out at center ice. DeSantis trying to spring in Kocur, and here is Chabot trying to clear it. It's picked up again by Len Barrie. He centered one, but right over to Al May. Overskated it, but the Aeros bring it out. And here comes Bill Bowler at center ice with Mark Greig. Bowler across the line, circles back toward the point. Pass came to Greig. Looks in front. He centered one. That's knocked away. Bowler trying to corral the puck, but here come the Dragons out to center. Len Barrie for Daniel Shank. Puck goes into the Aero end. Shank in after it. Hurlbut tapped him to the boards, but Len Barrie is there. Here's a pass that is centered, and Dave Basiggio will bring it up and out at center ice for Graham Townsend. Greig will make that to Basiggio that shoots it in as Greig pursues. Flynn shoots it along the boards, and here come the San Antonio Dragons. It's out at center ice. Len Barrie will bring it across the line. Barrie trying to move down. He got by Basiggio, centered a pass, but there was Hurlbut. Now Shank a shot. That's deflected away. Chabot able to skirt behind the net. Aeros trying to clear. They can't. Sean Reed moving down, sends it back top of the slot. Flynn a pass, picked up by Hurlbut, and here comes Mark Greig out at center ice with Graham Townsend. He'll gently roll the puck into the San Antonio end. Here's Townsend, a shot right on, and Raffine, the right pad save, and a good one there, and here come the Dragons. Out to center, Jason Miller with 10:40 to go in the second. Still, Aeros with the 1-0 lead. Barreau's trying to move down, picked up by Grigory Panalev. Valamont trying to stay with him. Jakes is in there. Steve Jakes locked up, and here is a centering pass by Osborne, tipped away. Valamont trying to roll that away, but it came to Panalev. He cuts in, chipped away, and here come the Aeros out at center ice. E. LaRose giving a shoot chuck across the line for Lamb. Shoot chuck cutting to the net. Here's a centering pass that was behind everybody. LaRose centered one. It's into the slot. Lamb turns. Mark Lamb drifting back to the point. Lamb trying to find a man to pass to. A hard rim down along the boards for shoot chuck behind the net. LaRose trying to come out with it. Shoot chuck trying to dig it out. Facing his circle. Shoot chuck taken to the boards. Now Lamb in a battle right now along the wall with Jason Miller. He's pinned along the boards. Shoot chuck hit by Bilodeau. Here's a pass in front. Jakes turning. Can't get a good shot away. And Osborne is out at center for San Antonio. He'll shoot it into the Aero end, and Jakes will go back. Steve Jakes winds it to center. Here come the Aeros, but it was tipped away by Brian Chance, but he lost it. Aeros waiting for Freer to get on sides. Here comes Shewchuk in, late in the shift, and he's hauled down, but no penalty. Trying to draw one there, but no call from Stéphane Auger. Dragons to center. Brian Chance popped it into Aero territory. Chabot knocked it down. Hurlbut whips it along the boards. It'll come back along to the line and out at center ice. Al May, the pass Conroy needs. Here's Freer, the shot, and it was deflected away. Freer, who has the Aero goal, just missing. Puck is shot down the ice. This is icing. As going back is Werwanka, and play is whistled down.
And once again, you just cannot say enough about the defensive zone coverage from all the Aeros. You know, Dave Tippett has just did a wonderful job in teaching all of his players the system, and basically the system is keep everything to the outside, and anytime the Dragons get any pressure in towards the middle on Frederic Chabot, there's just an arrow there to take away the shot all the time. Their coverage is the best I've seen ever for an Aero hockey team.
Face off in the circle to the right side of Bruce Racine as the Aeros make the change on the line of Al Conroy, Al May, Mark Freer, Dave Basiggio, and Darcy Werwanka defensively. Now we've got a whistle. And a timeout here. I wonder if Dave Tippett's it's pointing to San Antonio here.
And here we go with another timeout that's last night we saw it, and then again tonight.
Let's take timeout. We'll be back after this. 9 minutes to go in the second. 1-0 Aeros. 1-0 the Aeros lead it. We sent it down to Rob Dobson. A concern on the bench, and things opened up a little bit?
I've opened up a little bit for both teams. I think that we get a goal, and that opens up play even more. You look to San Antonio, they're a team that scored a lot of goals, and when they get down 1-0 in their home rink, they're going to try to press to get one the other way. I think when they press into our end, it's going to open up things for us as well. So things are a little, it's more concerned of us taking care of our own end. We know we can get our chances to score, and that's all we have to be aware of.
I think the reason Brubaker called a timeout is just to say, hey, we haven't put any pressure on Chabot all night.
Well, that's probably partially the reason too, but also I think they realize that he's got to take care of his own end as well. They just can't press to score goals.
Thanks, Dauber. Puck is picked up by the Aeros. They try to clear it. Glynn held it in. Kicked down. Aeros trying to clear, but it's Sean Reed turning along the right wing boards. Flipped it along the wall. Basiggio knocked it down. He'll scoop it over to Bill Bowler. That is a hand pass that is perfectly legal because it's within your own end. Mark Greig across the line, trying to move it around Brian Glynn, and then Greig takes a little pop at Glynn. Play moving on. Here's Mark Greig, base of the right circle. Looks in front. Greig trying to cut to the slot, and he'll hammer it down for Bill Bowler. Bowler trying to shake off the check of Shank. Bowler moves around, looks in front. He centered one, but it came back, and Basiggio scooped it. Yo couldn't find the handle. Glynn and Yo go in after it. Glynn finally shoved it out, but not or it did. I thought maybe Valamont might have held that in, but it just came over the line offsides. And they'll bring a face-off to center. With 8 minutes to go in the second period, a 1-0 Aero lead, and Carl Valamont. I mean, you want to talk about a player that is injected life. I'll never forget the line he said when he first came in. He said, I'm just glad to be here because I still love to play.
And he loves to play for Dave Tippett. He got a little taste of Dave Tippett at the end of last year after Dave Tippett took over from Terry Ruskowski. And one thing about Carl Valamont, in all the games that he's been here, he's 9 games, he's as an Aero, he's even. He's not been a minus player yet.
Brent Bilodeau going in behind the net, shouldered along the boards. Dragons trying to clear. It's out to center, and the Aeros have it. Carl Valamont popped it into the San Antonio end, and we've got a whistle and another offsides. This will be a 2-line offsides, and face-off will come to the Aeros side of center end as you watching on KWS. Bruce the scene.
And Bruce has seen the bulk of the action tonight, especially the quality shots. He's had to be sharp, especially on that LaRose drive, and Basiggio had the rebound. So he's played very well. I guess that's why he's 11-1 right now.
Well, now we've got maybe a little more to discuss than just a 2-line offsides here.
Well, the clock, I don't know if you heard it out of your earphones. The buzzer went in the clock, and now I think they're questioning the time up on the clock. The time says 7:28. Just before that, it said 8 minutes.
No, you know what it is? It says 7:28 left in the second period. It's supposed to say 8 seconds left in the third. 1-0 Aeros.
Yeah, Dave Tippett would love to see that, wouldn't he?
Be sure to watch Houston's best coverage of high school football. It is on High School 51, and it is Saturday at 11 p.m. and Sundays at 11:30 on Houston's own KNWS. And of course, that means it'll come up following tonight's hockey game.
And they do a great job on that show. I ended up going to a football game beside the Aerodrome. There's the football stadium. I believe it's Mercer Stadium. I went to a high school football game, and what excitement at those games. I could not believe it.
What they did is they ended up putting about 8 seconds back on the clock. That's what the problem was. Conroy ready to take this face-off at center. And the Dragons win the draw. Here is Bilodeau on his own end. He'll steer it out for Jason Miller. Lead pass down the right side. Chapdelaine moving in. The shot right on. And a glove save made by Chabot. And he will hold on. He has not been tested, but maybe once or twice. And when I mean tested, I mean really legitimate scoring opportunities. And Chabot is playing some terrific hockey.
Well, here he just holds his ground. Carl Valamont forces Chapdelaine out to the outside. He makes a good snapshot. Frederic Chabot with that big glove and just catches the puck once again. Makes the save look very easy.
I'm going to put you on the spot. I don't know if you can think of this right away, but who's the best glove in the IHL?
Well, Rob Dobson has the prettiest. I know that.
Here's a shot right on. Chabot stopped it. Chabot down, trying to cover it up. And they bang away at it a little bit and finally play whistle down. But who in your mind maybe has the best glove in the IHL? As far as, I mean, you know, the best glove hand.
Well, I think Alan Bester is noted as having a very good glove hand, and another guy was Stefan Beauregard. But last night, his glove hand did not catch that big drive by Mark Greig, who just blew it by him. And the one thing about Frederic Chabot is that in the last 12 games, he's not given up 3 goals or more. You know, he's given up 3 goals. He's not given up 4 goals or more in the last 12 games. And they're going to win a lot of hockey games at him doing that.
Puck is controlled. Here's another shot lifted high and wide. His play getting a little scrambly right now on the Aero end, but Houston is there. They can't clear. Panalev moves it down. Grigori Panalev, he centered one. Jake's trying to pound it along the boards. Can't. Bilodeau moving in. Shooting. He whistled it wide. Chapdelaine holding it at a point, but it's cleared. Out to center ice. Chapdelaine in a battle with Freer. It's frozen along the boards, and that might have been the best thing that could have happened to the Aeros there, getting it out at center ice and bringing a face-off.
Well, I don't know what Jeff Brubaker said during that timeout, but for the last couple minutes, his troops have been playing a lot better. The Dragons have been moving their feet, been skating a lot better. Guys like Mark Freer got to chase those guys around. Brubaker, he was upset with his effort of his team, so he ended up calling a timeout and getting his Dragons going. And this is just a plain shot from the point. Frederic Chabot down, and you think he's out, but look how quick he gets back up and dives back across.
Did he get that?
He got that with his blocker. But that's something you cannot teach a goaltender, is a second effort, and that's one thing that Frederic Chabot has done great during this hot streak he's been on.
Puck is in behind the Aero net. Chabot getting tied up a little bit with Len Barrie. Looked right at Auger and say, where's the penalty? But Auger says no. Here is Len Barrie, pass turned around by Mark Lamb as he scampered back into his own end, and the Aeros will turn the puck around. Basigio gives it over to Hurlbut. Lead pass. Lamb's got it 2-on-1 with Shewchuk. Lamb in. Shewchuk waiting, shooting. Racine is there to make the save. Shewchuk centered again. Back to the line. Hurlbut. He shoots. Locked in front. Lamb trying to dig it out. Lamb scooped it. LaRose is in. Shoots. Right on. There was Racine with a save. Poked along the boards. And still not out. Lamb held it in. Give to LaRose. He shoots it, but it goes wide as Racine was run into by Shewchuk, but he was helped by Harlock. And that won't draw a penalty as Harlock kind of fired Shewchuk into him. But a moment ago, Bruce Racine had to come up quite large. Thank you.
Well, that line of Lamb, Shewchuk, and LaRose just jumping all over the ice. And Mark Lamb just makes a great pass to Gary Shewchuk. Bruce Racine comes sliding out, leaves down his stick so that he cannot get in front. But then there's going to be another shot here by Mike Hurlbut, trying to get it through to Bruce Racine. The initial shot does not, but Mark Lamb works very hard. And then the drive comes from Guy LaRose. That's all just second effort by those 3 forwards to work around, and then once there is a loose puck, to jump on it. And the one thing that Ronnie Loach has not made it back to the game so far, so that tends me to believe that it is a medical problem for him.
Faceoff is out at center. Trying to see on the bench. I don't see him right now. They're cleaning up a little debris on the ice. Right now, Rob Dobson talking to the linesman. Obviously, it's not enough that Dobber wants to do our show. He wants to talk to the linesman.
Well, and the other linesman, not the linesman he was just talking to, Russ Johnson, I believe, is a friend of Rob Dobson. Russ used to be a referee when Dobber was a rookie and in his second year, and used to do a lot of Muskegon games. Everyone knew Russ. He's a really personal guy, but now he just does the lines in the IHL.
Here's Carl Valamont. He'll send a pass rink wide for Rowenka. Whipped along the board. Greig trying to move it down. And in after it. Bowler trying to give chase, but it's picked up by Sean Reed, and the Dragons trying to clear it. Greig held it in. It's finally taken back by Gwynn once again and shot out at center. Ryan Chance fires one in. Chabot comes out to play it. And he'll shoot it into the boards, but it's picked up again. Chance, he cuts in. Center, the shot stopped by Chabot. We will have an Aero penalty right here.
Frederic Chabot making a very good leg save on Chance. And I believe Carl Valamont might be getting called, or Graham Townsend. But Frederic Chabot making a very good right pad save. And it ends up Graham Townsend going to get called for holding. Frederic Chabot trying to shoot the puck around the glass. It does not get out. Shantz makes a good move and then sweeps the puck on the net. Frederic Chabot going down in that butterfly style. Look at Carl Valmont clearing the front of the net, taking down 2 Dragons so that Frederic Chabot can cover up that loose puck. Frederic Chabot with 14 saves this evening, and I'd say that one would be one of the toughers as it was in front of him right at the hash marks.
Let's send it down to the ice, and Rob Dobson, what's up?
Well, not much. I just discussed with the ref there. The referee looked to have called that their player had pushed Shoe into the net. In that case, the faceoff should have been inside, but he indicated it was outside there. The last penalty on Graham was just one being a little aggressive in front of the net, trying to hold his man up. But, you know, that's one thing we've done is we have had good coverage.
He's in front. Here's Chabot making a save, and he will hold on to it. Thanks, Stalger. Chabot getting here tested a little bit more in the second period.
And the one thing there is that he's getting the initial shot, and the defensive boards are letting him see that initial shot, and they're clearing the way out in front of Frederic Chabot, and Frederic Chabot just makes another good save. You know, he's out there on the top of his crease. There's just nowhere to shoot. Like I don't think you could beat him with a shot there, Adam.
I can't beat him if he's not in the net. In fact, there's a story that he left the ice but left his stick in front of the net. I had a breakaway and put it in his stick.
Oof. And when I saw you play last time, I thought your shot was improving.
Trick photography. Here come the Dragons, though, as we get back to the real game that matters. Here comes Barrie across the line. Barrie trying to scoop one up, but it was shoveled out by Freer. And McIntyre is back, trying to feed Len Barrie. Puck is loose at center, and it's gobbled up by Conroy as the power play down to 1:18 for San Antonio. And the Aeros just shovel it right back down the ice.
And the Aeros once again jumping on all the loose pucks, and now Conroy, instead of shooting it all the way down by himself, ends up giving it back to the defenseman to take off a little more time.
Harlock ripped it in. Actually, that was Glynn that shot in, but the Aeros there to clear it, but not out. Here comes McIntyre. He'll move it down the right side. Glynn from a left point. A shot ricocheted off Shuchuk. Valamont taken to the boards pretty hard by Shank. Shank picks up the puck. He sends it to the line. McIntyre lets a shot go right on, and Chabot through traffic. 4 guys. He was able to pick that out and stop it and hold on to it. What a save there.
Dave McIntyre making a very good snapshot on Frederic Chabot, but what a pass by Daniel Shank to get it out to McIntyre, who ends up making a very good snapshot. Frederic Chabot catches it down with his blocker and in between his goalie pad, has the presence of mind to jump on the loose puck. But Daniel Shank makes the play happen. He's battling in there with Carl Valmont, and then watch his pass that he makes. On the tape of McIntyre, McIntyre fakes the first shot, then on the second one puts it down on Frederic Chabot, who very wisely covers it up.
Face-off controlled. Dragons with his shot whistled wide. Osborne gobbled it up along the wall. Here's a centering pass chipped away by Frederic Chabot. DeSantis, right wing boards, got it down, centering pass, and again Chabot is there. Here come the Aeros, short-handed. Lamb hits the line, looks in front, he shoots, blocked. Shuchuk trying to cut in. Shuchuk centered, here's Lamb, the shot, and it was wide of the net. 10 seconds left in the power play for San Antonio. Panalev at center, fired it in. Miller will give chase. Hurlbut takes him to the boards. Shot back to the line for Mark DeSantis as the penalty is over. Team to find a side. Long shot, hit a leg. Loose in front, Panalev, stuff shot. Chabot the save. Loose in front, the Aeros pop it out at center. It'll go down the ice.
Frederic Chabot just holding his ground on Panalev, not giving him nothing to shoot at.
The seam comes out of the net. It's played by the Aeros. Here's Townsend, looks in front. Scooped it down for Yo. Mike Yo, base of the right circle. Rolls it down for Guy LaRose. He cuts into the slot. LaRose looks along the board. He'll again cycle it down. Here's Townsend, tip for Yo, trying to cut in. Mike Yo slides it back down. Townsend gobbles it up. He was bumped by DeSantis. Brent Bilodeau, who's lost the lid, able to pick up that puck and shovel it ahead. Here comes the helmetless Brent Bilodeau. At center ice, he'll shoot it into Aero territory. That will bounce to Chabot. Ooh, had to go off his stick there a little bit, but Aero's back to flip it away. Joe Kocur, hit by LaRose. Kocur trying to muscle in along the boards. Here is Brian Shantz, gives to Kocur, cuts in, base of the circle, stuff shot, Chabot the save. Battle along the boards. And it's picked up by Bilodeau. Rolled it down for Sean Reed. Ian Malamont going at it along the far side. We've got a whistle and another penalty. It's a roughing minor, and we'll sort everything out when we return. 6 left in the second period. Those could be on the power play when we return.
Joey Kocur going to go off here for roughing in front of the net with Steve Jakes. He gets his stick up, then he brings that big right hand, and wow, that does not feel too good. And Joey Kocur, knowing to have one of the biggest right hands when he played in the NHL, takes a pot shot at Steve Jakes, and it's going to end up getting 2 minutes for it.
Well, the Aeros on the power play, and it's Dave Basicio back in his own end. He'll send it over to Darcy Werwenka. The Aeros scored their last time on the power play, a Mark Freer tally, and here's Freer again. He's in on goals, he rolls up. Sends it back to the line. Werwenka tees it up, gives to Freer. Back, Werwenka, one-time shot. Oh, it went just wide of the net. It missed by about 2 inches to the near side of Bruce Racine. Now Conroy slides to Freer in the corner. Werwenka at the point. Toss to Basicio. He'll find Freer. Mark Freer. A pass down for Bill Bowler. He's locked up along the boards. Freer gets it to Werwenka, floats the pass. Basicio to Werwenka. He tried to steer it for Freer. He's got a chance. Right side, in, the shot. Change direction, went wide. Harlock is there. He'll blast it to the line, and Werwenka was right there to hold it in, but the Dragons come out with it at center ice. Short-handed Shank will shoot it in. And the Aeros will go back with just over a minute left on the power play.
And that's some of the best puck movement the Aeros have had on their power play tonight.
Freer got it in, but it was cleared once again by the Dragons. Right back down the ice. We're down to the final minute of play in the second period, but the Aeros will get their full power play time in this period. Mark Lamb, he'll start the rush up ice. Lamb, the pass ahead. Here comes Guy LaRose. He'll dump the puck in, out of the net, Racine. Behind that, he'll swing it along the boards. And it's shot out at center ice. Half a minute to go in the Aero power play. They lead it 1-0. It was a power play goal from Mark Freer, his 7th of the year. That's all we have at this point. Mark Lamb at his own end. He'll roll it up the right side for Mark Greig. Trying to bring it in across the line. Greig tipped it back. Hurlbutt. Rolled it down low. Rennie Chapdelaine is there. Cranked it along the boards, and that will go down the ice. And that will do it for the Aero power play.
And the Aeros just not able to get it set up at the end of the power play. The first 30 seconds, they did a great job. The last part, they just could not get it set up.
Here come the Aeros. Now back even strength with a pass over 2 lines just as the buzzer sound. And now Shank looking at Hurlbutt. And I don't think anything's going to come out of that. So the Aeros, very interesting period. I don't know how pleased Dave Tippett would be with that has opened up as it was, but he has to be pleased, A, about the goal, and B, that his team did hold on and not allow a goal.
Well, and the one thing is his Aeros came out very strong in the second period, actually forcing Brubaker to call a timeout. And after Brubaker called that timeout and kind of gave his troops the tongue lashing, they came out a lot stronger, so it's going to be a very interesting third period.
An interesting locker room in the San Antonio dressing room. We'll take a look at the high-low scoring summary. Mark Freer gets his 7th of the season on the power play at 1:30 of the second period. Bill Bowler the only assist. And the Aeros have a 1-0 lead through 40 minutes. When we return, we'll have a timeout, a news update, and have more from San Antonio. We'll be back after this. Mark Freer's 7th power play goal of the season, standing right now through 2 periods. The Aeros with a 1-0 lead over the San Antonio Dragons. Welcome back to Freeman Coliseum. Adam Gordon, Troy Gamble, and this game fits right into what we want to talk about. A very defensive struggle. We've seen it a lot lately when the Aeros play anybody right now in the IHL. Defense seems to be the name of the game as the goals against, or I should say goals for, way down in the eye.
Well, they're down. It's unbelievable, though, how much they are down. You can look at the graphics, and look at that, Adam. 6 goals, 6.34, and last season, 7.47. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that 10.4 number, by the way, matches Troy Gamble's stroke average per hole of golf. Is that right?
Well, I thought you were going to say goals against average when I played, and then we knew we were in real trouble.
Well, and the numbers are way down, and defense has been the name of the game, but it's not just the defensemen, not just the forwards. Obviously, it's the goaltenders.
Well, you talk to a lot of people in the IHL about goaltending, and all the numbers, all the goalies, if you're a great goaltender in the IHL, you got a goals against of under 3. As you can see, 16 goaltenders with a goals against under 3. And that's just unheard of in seasons past. And Frederic Chabot with 2.65 is great. But the one thing else that's not shown there is the save percent. Goalies are making themselves bigger. They're making themselves to be in a position to always stop the puck. And that's likely the biggest difference.
You know, the one thing that stat doesn't show from Frederic Chabot's standpoint is where he was for most of the first part of the season, well over the 3 mark.
Well, and he's battled back from that slow start, and you talk to Frederic Chabot about that. One thing he'll say is that I never start that well in October. It always seems to come together in November, and that's what's starting to happen now. And Dave Tippett and the Aeros are certainly glad that is happening.
Although Frederic Chabot was first star last night, you had to give it to him, preserving the shutout. Tonight, he is much more of a factor than he was last night, and I think he'll have to be in that third period to preserve the Aero victory. We'll have the stats and the highlights from San Antonio when we return. Our score after 2 periods of play, it's the Aeros 1 and the Dragons nothing. The Aeros with a 1-0 lead from Freeman Coliseum. We're in the second intermission. Welcome back, Adam Gordon, Troy Gamble, and obviously Jeff Brubaker, the head coach of the San Antonio Dragons, a little concerned about his team's effort in that second period because you saw a noticeable difference after he talked to his players, and I think he's got words for him right now in the locker room.
Well, what happened, Adam, is that they were falling into what Dave Tippett's game plan was, and the Dragons did not play well for the first 30 minutes. So what does he do? Brubaker calls a timeout and says, guys, we got a game plan. Let's go to our game plan. And after they did that, they played a lot better.
And you know, for the Aeros, the power play has been the enigma for them as of late, but it finally erupted with a goal, and Mark Freer had a beauty from Bill Bowler.
Well, Bill Bowler makes a great pass. It's the old give and go play. Gives it back to Mark Freer, and Mark Freer goes top shelf. No goaltender's going to make that save. But it starts at the top of the blue line. Nice little shovel pass to Mark Freer, who puts it down to Bill Bowler. And instead of staying up on the boards, he ends up driving hard to the net, getting rewarded with a nice goal and going top shelf over Bruce Racine. But Frederic Chabot was up to the task. Here he's going to make a very good save on Joey Kocur, walking out from the corner, holding his ground. And that's what he's doing so well tonight. He's holding his ground. And then these are saves that you don't diagram. This is one of the spectacular kind as he dives over. Analeyev tries to shoot it. A big waffle blocker comes out and he makes a great save.
Shots on goal as we look at the Aeros logbook brought to you by Southwest Airlines. 18-16 in favor of the Aeros. The Aeros 1 for 4 on the power play. The San Antonio Dragons 0 for 2 on the man advantage. I guess really the only adjustment Dave Tippett makes maybe in this period is, look, we got a 1-0 lead. I don't mind taking advantage offensively and taking some scoring chances. But at this point, things were maybe a little scrambly for us. They opened up a little bit. We need to clamp down just a little bit.
Well, what he wants to clamp down on is those outnumbered situations. And there was about 4 or 5 of them that period, Adam. And that's the one thing Dave Tippett does not like to see, outnumbered situations. Cut down on those, and we'll win this hockey game.
All right, the Aeros with a 1-0 lead, and we will bring you the third period. Will the Aeros have 10 in a row? 20 miles for 20 smiles. Aeros are back at the Summit. They got a week off, and then Friday night, they're back at the Summit to take on the Las Vegas Thunder. Tickets are available by calling Ticketmaster at 629-3700. Game time is at 7. The Aeros and the Thunder this Friday night, the Summit beginning at 7. It's a game you can also catch on Prime Sports.
And always with Las Vegas Thunder, you're going to see a lot of things. And Al May is going to be one of those big players against the Las Vegas Thunders. Second on the team in penalty minutes. But in the last 17 games, he's been plus or better. He's just done it on the defensive side and helping out that line of Freer and Conroy.
Ready to start the third period. Aeros lead at 1-0. Puck is out at center. And here is Daniel Schenk trying to advance it. Shutchuk gives to Lam, and he's got a lane. Left side in, shoots. Hammered a bullet wide. Shutchuk to drive right on. And Racine makes the save. And he will hold on. Oh, man. That's the start the Aeros wanted.
And I think Guy LaRose might have deflected that shot from Gary Shutchuk as it started with a wide shot. Mark Lamb driving it wide. And then all of a sudden, this is the big shot that just goes wide. Gary Shutchuk gets it up on the half wall and ends up putting it back on Racine, but a couple good chances by the Aeros to try to score on Bruce Racine.
Face off left side of Racine, and the Dragons have it McIntyre out at center. Give it to Barrie across the line. That is offside. And the face-off brought back to center. And let's send it down to the Aeros bench. Rob Dobson and Dobber. What was Dave Tippett's thoughts on that second period?
Well, the period was a good period for us, and the only thing that was said in between the periods, we just have to keep doing the things we're doing and rely on each other. And I think that through this whole streak, if you want to call it, that's all we've been doing. Is really relying on each other, offensive, defensively along the walls, and that's what we're doing tonight.
Was he concerned that there were a few outnumbered chances in that period?
There's more than we've given up the last few, but I think that's because, as we mentioned, the second period play had opened up, and that wasn't addressed, but I think it's a known.
Okay, thanks, Dobber. Puck goes into the arrow end, and back to play it is Mike Hurlbut, and we get another whistle as a puck deflected with a high stick.
Dave Basijo, how good has he been since he's come over from Cleveland? I cannot believe that Cleveland let this guy go. I know
they didn't have a choice.
Well, yeah, they're affiliated with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I tell you, the Arrows have been a benefit of him. He's plus 14 as an Arrow. He's just played so well.
I bet you they wish they had him now with that, I don't want to say injury to Stefan Bergqvist, but the neuroma that he has, the tumor that he had in his ear. We talked about that a few games ago, and there's been no update on his health, but I hope everything's okay with him. Stefan Bergqvist, the draft pick of the Pittsburgh Penguins, is a face-off that we brought out at center after the Dragons are offsides once again.
And Dave Basijo, who was a friend of him, I know.
Good friend.
Yeah, wishes him well in his recovery, and hopefully he'll be able to play again. And I guess first off, just to be able to live healthy again.
Yeah, and they feel that it's going to be, it's not a thing that they feel is going to affect his career at this point or his health per se. The thing that they're concerned about is how close to the audio tube in his ear, and there's a chance that he could be deaf, but they don't know about any damage there yet.
Yeah, and if that is the case, that if he's just deaf, we know in the IHL there's one legally deaf player, plays with the Kansas City Blades, big defenseman, Jim Kite. So hopefully it can be done, but let's just hope his health comes first.
Yeah, I hope so. All right, we're ready to get on with action here. Off the face-off, Conroy wins it back to Carl Valabot. Here's Steve Jake, popped it up the boards. And here is Conroy back into his own end, and another offsides call on the Dragons.
And we've seen that lately. Once the Arrows get the lead, they tend to slow it down. And Al Conroy ends up taking it back into his zone. It was offsides and puts it off the Dragons player's skate, so they'll bring it back out for another face-off that Al Conroy doesn't mind taking. He's done very well on the draws tonight, getting down low and winning a lot.
Face-off picked up by the Dragons, but Conroy shoveled it ahead, and here comes Freer galloping across the line. He'll shoot it into the San Antonio end, and Rennie Chapdelaine goes back, fired it over to Panalev, trying to clear the zone. That was held at a point by Jakes. May jammed it down for Freer, and there's Jason Miller. Miller along the boards. He'll bring it up and out at center ice for Brent Bilodeau, and down after to Steve Jakes. He's watched by Panalev. Conroy gives chase, and he'll float the pass up and out at center ice. Rennie Chapdelaine going back into his own end. Chapdelaine along the boards, and here comes Brent Bilodeau. They're moving along the wall, and it's out at center ice, and Hurlbut back to his own blue line. Quick pass, Townsend's got it, but it rolled off his stick, and the Dragons able to clear into center ice. Just about 2 minutes gone in this third period, and the Arrows still holding on to Mark Freer's 7th of the year for that 1-0 lead. Puck is shot down into the San Antonio end. Dragons' Bruce Racine comes out of the net for Harlock. Wrapped it up the boards. Townsend knocked it down along the far wall. DeSantis gives chase there. For the Dragons, moves it up the boards and out to center ice, and Hurlbut has to scamper back into his own end. Hurlbut pursued along the boards. He was taken off the puck by Joey Kocur, and it's finally picked up by Townsend and shot out at center. This is an icing call coming up to the Arrows as Harlock goes back, and they'll bring a face-off into the Arrow end with 17.5 to go in the third period. The Arrows with a 1-0 lead.
Harlock has played very well for the Dragons this year. Big, solid defenseman. Played with the Canadian Olympic team for the last few years. And then one thing about Dave Tippett, when we talked about Dave Tippett today, the one thing that he was impressed with his team last night, the one comment, the third period. He thought his team deserved to win the game because they won the third period, and I'm sure that's what he's hoping for again tonight.
Face off to the right side of Frederic Chabot. Drop of the puck, and the Arrows pop it up. Here they come to center ice. Aeros rolls it into San Antonio territory. McIntyre going back. They'll try to advance along the boards. LaRose knocked it down. He centered. Here's Shuchuk, but he was shaded off the puck. And it's scraped back down by Lamb for LaRose. They'll feed a pass. Basidio takes off the boards with a shot. They score! Big Basidio, but it might have been deflected by either Lamb or Shuchuk. Aeros take a 2-0 lead.
Dave Basidio once again just putting the puck back onto the net. Gary Shuchuk in front of the net, maybe got a piece of it. Not quite sure if he did or if he didn't. But Dave Basidio making the great play by putting it onto Bruce Racine. You know, you talk about Dave Basidio leading the team with shots, with 91 shots, gets the good pass, takes it off the boards and blasts it on the net. And yes, Gary Shuchuk did tip it, I believe, past Bruce Racine.
So Shuchuk, they're going to give credit to Gary Shuchuk for the goal. And for Gary Shuchuk, it's his 14th of the year. The Aeros open up a 2-0 lead. And a puck goes out of play, and we take timeout. 3 minutes gone in the third. And the Aeros with a 2-0 lead, looking for 10 in a row.
Dave Basidio with the shot from the point, but it was Gary Shuchuk who ends up tipping it with the shaft of his blade. Tips it with the shaft of his blade off the goal post into the net. What a play.
Puck is into the arrow end. Here's a pass that's in. A shot stopped by Chabot. Puck is loose along the boards. Grigory Panalev is there. Looking along the wall. Panalev doing a fine bit of stick handling. Cuts into the slot. Looks to get a shot away. That's chipped away by Hurlbut and back out at center ice. 3.5 gone in the third, and the Aeros with a 2-0 lead as it's shot into Arrow territory, and Hurlbut will scamper back to play it. Mike Hurlbut, goal end, shoving off the glass, cleared out at center and back to the San Antonio end. Brent Bilodeau hustling back to play it. Rolled along the near side for Keith Osborne, checked by Yo. Here come the Dragons though. Jason Miller across the line, but he feathered it out at center, and the Aeros quickly turn it around. Greig speeding across the line, looks in front, the pass, drop back, Rowenka. Here's Yo trying to center one, and a big collision behind between Rennie Chapdelaine and Bill Bowler, and Bowler went right down to the ice. On the boards, here's Mark Greig, fishes out a loose puck, give it to Bill Bowler, looks for Yo, here's Greig in, center the pass and a shot, stopped by Racine, and right now, folks, it is all Houston. They are taking play to San Antonio, and that is exactly what the Aeros, Dave Tippett, everybody in the blue really looking for.
Well, the one thing about San Antonio is that they're opening up the play, and the Aeros will take advantage of that. You can look at right here, good shot. Mike Yo getting a little tip from a Mark Greig shot. Bruce Racine had to be very sharp on it. Greig just trying to get it over to Mike Yo, who tries to deflect it up past a sprawl and Bruce Racine.
So the Aeros have come out in the first 4.5 minutes here, and I'll say it, dominated play.
And the one thing about the Aeros system is that if San Antonio tries to open it up too much, the way that the blue Aeros play, they're going to get scoring chances.
Jeff Brubaker giving that gum a workout right now.
Oof. And that would be a workout. He's a big man.
Very intimidating individual. Here is a shot by Valamont. Picked up, Aeros trying to center one. Lamb digs it out in the corner. Trying to knock it ahead, but McIntyre is there, poked back along the boards. It's out to center ice, and Daniel Shank is there. Shank across the line, dumped it in. Chabot comes out of the net, smacked it along the boards. Here come the Dragons. Oh, it's over, skated the Aeros, busted out, 3-on-1. Here's Lamb with LaRose. Lamb is in, center, LaRose shoots, stopped by Racine. Are you kidding me or what? The save of the night, Racine rubbing Guy LaRose, snatching that from the jaws of the twine, and he keeps it 2-0. What a save there. Oh, man.
And what a pass by Mark Lamb to get it to Guy LaRose. He feathers his pass across to Guy LaRose. He makes a great play coming back. Look at that glove. Bruce Racine diving back and getting his big glove on it. Guy LaRose makes a great play to cut back in, gets on his backhand, and just cannot get it upstairs over a sprawl and Bruce Racine.
Oh, man. I heard of giving a rose
to somebody when you're in love, but not a rose to someone when you're in the glove. Boy, did Morissette come up big there.
I don't know where you came up with that.
What, am I reaching? Puck goes down the ice. Sergio there to play it. There's an icing call, and they'll bring the face-off back down into the San Antonio end, and let's send it down to the bench, and Rob Dobson, and boy, this is all Houston right now.
Yeah, it is, Adam. You know, I looked at that last goal, and Troy mentioned the great play by Dave Sergio, but one thing that we're doing very well, and we've done it very well now for a few weeks, is we've gone to the net. There's a great play made on the wall over here by Mark Lamb just to keep the puck in. It went down low, and we were talking about cycling. Play back to Dave Sergio, but you know, you get a man in front of the net, and an easy shot on net seems to be the ones that get in all the time, and that's the case there. But again, it's guys driving to the net and doing the dang little things right that have you know, allowed us to get into hockey games and be very successful the last 3 weeks.
Thank you, Dauber. We'll watch for those dang little things. The Aeros have a 2-0 lead, which is not little in a game like this.
Not against an offensive team like San Antonio, but if they keep on doing those dang little things, they'll have a lot of success.
Puck is out at center ice. Harlock run into by Conroy and May. And we got a whistle. We got penalties here. Harlock kind of started with a pretty good check to Al May, and Conroy came in to help out a little bit later there. And Conroy's going to pick up a penalty, but I like what Al Conroy did there. He says, look, you're going to hit one of my guys a little aggressively, and I'm going to give it right back to you. So Conroy sends a message. It's 2 minutes I'm not sure he wants to take at this point in the hockey, but in retrospect, it is 2 he'll take.
Well, it was just a physical play, and Al May, you talk about physical, has been physical once again all night. That hurts. You know, Al May's a really strong guy, but when you get hit like that against the board, that hurts.
Now, I caught the tail end of it as I looked back and heard the boom, and all I saw was what people saw on the replay, May going down. He's the one that made the hit there, so I take that back.
Well, he made the initial contact on Harlock there. That was just a great hit, and Harlock being a big guy, Al May getting him against the boards. And anytime you can catch a player a foot or 2 foot against the boards, away from the boards, and you hit him hard, that hurts getting it. And these are soft boards, so they rattle pretty good, so it's not as bad, but still hurts.
Puck is in Aero territory. Aero shorthanded for a couple of minutes. Here's Daniel Shank. Tossed it back to the line, McIntyre. Here's Brian Glenn at the point, scooped it down. Hurlbut is there. He'll slide it along the boards. Held it at the point by Glenn. Scooped it down. Hurlbut over to Lamb, and it's right back down the ice.
And this is where it hurts the Dragons not to have Loach. He's out, and he's one of their power play specialists. He will not be out on this one.
Dragons through center. Miller for Glenn, speeding across the line. He was called down by Sergio, but no call. Play moves on. Barrie trying to center one, but Sergio's there, but can't clear. McIntyre, long shot, high and wide. Was deflected with a high stick. Shank will play it, and that will bring a whistle. As the puck hit with a high stick, and that will bring a face-off all the way back down into the San Antonio end. Because on power play, you hit the puck with a high stick. That's the call.
And I believe Ajays did a very good game tonight. He's called it pretty even. And that's all Dave Tippett asked for. You know, Dave Tippett doesn't mind if you're going to call those hooking penalties or obstruction penalties. He just wants it to be called both ways. And I think the referee's done a very good job tonight so far.
Face-off will be in the circle to the right side as Aero fans looking on.
And there's a big contingent of Aero fans throughout this building.
There might be more
tonight.
Aero fans in here than Dragon fans. I mean, there are like 3 or 4 areas that have bulk numbers of Aero fans here today. And that's excellent. And I hope that the Aero fans that are at home watching this realize that when the Aeros return home on Friday against Las Vegas, they'll be in even bigger droves. Puck is in the Aero end, but quickly cleared. And here comes Bowler shorthanded. He's belted by Barrie, but he got the puck into the San Antonio end. And then Yo finishes his check on McIntyre. Under a minute to go, and the penalty to Conroy. 2-0, the Aeros leading. Panalea speeding in across the line. Balamont trying to shake him off along the boards. Picked up by Daniel Shank to the line. McIntyre scooped it for Shank. Rolled it to Len Barrie, top of the slot, steered down, a deflected shot, went just wide. McIntyre again, rolled it down along the boards for Jason Miller. Valamont trying to pop it away. Here's Jakes, hard along the boards. McIntyre held it in beautifully, but now Bowler cleared it. He's got a man to beat Shank, and then he's hauled down by Shank, and that could be a penalty shot. I don't know, delayed penalty. Here's Bowler right in, shooting, he scores! Bill Bowler! After being grappled and hog-tied by Shank, he got back up, scored nothing short-handed.
Bill Buller just breaking away from the play. Daniel Shank hauls him down. For some reason, the Dragons never really reacted after it. They knew there was going to be a penalty. Mike Yeo just goes behind the net, centers it back out, and Biller gets it back. And that's obviously a penalty, but as the play keeps on going on, Mike Yeo sticks with the puck, as he knows that if he stays with the puck and if he gets it, there's no whistle. He gets it back to Bill Buller. Bill Buller puts it in past a sprawled Bruce Racine.
That's a tough call to make if that would have been a penalty shot. I don't think it would have been after looking at Shank. Had pretty much stayed stride for stride, although the question is how clear a path to the net and all that. But at this point, it doesn't matter, as it's 3-0, a shorthanded goal by Bowler. And the Aeros in complete control of this one. Here is Hurlbutt. He'll shoot it right back down the ice. As the penalty's still on, but it's going to be over in about 2 seconds.
And once again, it's the third period. The Aeros came out with fire in their eyes once again.
Here come the Aeros again. Guy LaRose speeding in across the line. A shot right on. Racine makes the save. And it's picked up by San Antonio. Chapdelaine out at center. Knocked away by Hurlbutt. And it's into San Antonio territory. And Rennie Chapdelaine will turn it around. Chapdelaine. And across the line, he'll cut in a pass for Osborne as he turns, flips one in front. And Osborne trying to motor a pass in front. He's worked on by Valamont. Here's Brian Shantz. In the arrow end, a pass for DeSantis, intercepted, cleared but not out. Second effort is out at center ice, and here comes Lamb, 3-on-3 across the line, but that is offsides, and play is whistled down. 11:35 to go in this one, and the Aeros on top, 3-0.
Billy Bowler, who flies down the wing here, and Daniel Shank's going to end up roping him down, just grabbing him down. But with the presence of mind, Bill Bowler gets back up, realizing that Mike Yeo has chased down the loose puck, goes to the front of the net, tries to do a little deke move here, going to his left, right, ends up losing the puck, but Bruce Racine, who opened up his legs, ends up going 5-hole.
So the Aeros with a 3-0 lead. And here come the Houston Aeros again. Lamb across the line, but that is again offsides. LaRose a little ahead of the play.
And I think it goes back, though, Adam, to what we were talking about, is when you give this Aero team a lead going into the third period, they're going to make you pay for it. And Dave Tippett has installed this system that if you open up too much against this Aero hockey team, they're going to get chances to score, and they believe in that now. That's why they have so much success in the third period, is that they get quality chances as teams try to open up, and they just can't.
Aeros, 11:27 left. And now, what do we got, a stick measurement?
I think Carl Valmont is going to get called.
Do you know anything about his stick?
No, I don't.
He's going right to the bench. Is he going to ask for another stick?
No, I'm not quite sure. I don't know if they can measure the curvature of the blade or the width of the blade, and you have to specify which one. And they're doing the width of his blade. They're saying that it's too wide of a blade, and if that measurement does not go all the way through it, then it's illegal, and it looks like that could be a legal stick. As long as that feeds all the way through, then it's a legal stick. And that's a great shot, and it looks like it hits a little snag there, though. That might not be any good, or it's really close to tell from up here.
Lenny pleading his case. It's a good stick.
It
and
is.
that is a 2-minute minor to the Dragons. So Carl Valamont keeps the lumber. And the Aeros will go back on the power play. And we send it down to the bench. Rob Dobson. And Dauber, what's your thought on that stick measurement there?
I'll tell you, Chris McSorley should be shot.
Why?
He starts all this stick measuring stuff, and here we are just even before Christmas that it started. But it's a good call, but another problem is when a team that, like Houston, who's used it before and been very, very effective for us to get some power plays, you know, no one on this team wants to take the fine because they don't want to be caught with an illegal stick. So Duke put the white tape on there to make it a little deceiving, so it worked out pretty good.
Duke being referred to as Carl Valamont.
It's sorry, Adam. It's a good call if it's effective. At 3-0, I'm not sure. Yeah, it will change some momentum, but you better be 100% sure before you call it, because now this is the difference of the hockey game.
Thank you, Dauber. So the Aeros go back on the power play, and here's Hurlbutt. He'll steer it ahead for Shuchuk.
And it's in across the line, and Bruce Racine will flip it himself, but now it's intercepted. Shuchuk cutting back, but it was stripped by Shank and back out at center ice. Here come the Aeros. Mark Lamb, lead pass for Gary Shuchuk. He'll crank it into the San Antonio end. DeSantis will drill it right back down the ice.
And look for the Aeros to keep working on their power play. This gives them a very good chance to keep working on that power play, making it better.
Here comes Hurlbut on the power play, which has 1:20 left in it. Hurlbut across the line, he'll dump it in. Racine comes out of the net, he'll swing it along the boards. It's bounced back to the line, Shuchuk, and he's hammered from behind by Barrie. Here's a pass that came down, and then Greig fell. And the Aeros trying to hold the puck in, but Barrie able to clear it out at center ice. And then Shuchuk in along the boards, and things getting scrambly once again right in front of the Aero bench, and finally whistle stops play. And Glenn very, very frustrated. You know, a lot of people have been talking about the Aeros and their 9-game winning streak coming into tonight's game, but not much has been made about the Dragons' success and the fact that they're 6-0-1 in their last 7.
Well, and that's the reason why, because they're physical. Len Barrie physical and Gary Shuchuk. And that's the way this team has to play. Brubaker has them working hard, being physical, and leaving the scoring up to basically 3-4 players in Barrie and Loach and Shank and Panaleoff.
Yeah, San Antonio in their last 10, 6-2-2. They're very average at home, 8-4. They're terrific on the road at 11-3-3. But that's attributed a lot to the 3 out of the 4 shutouts that Bruce Racine has. He's gotten on the road as a puck is shot into Frederic, Chabot, and Basigio goes back. 48 seconds left in the Aero power play. Basigio floats the puck up for the Freer. He'll bring it across the line with Graham Townsend. Townsend trying to cut in. He sent it a pass. That's knocked away. Freer trying to loosen it up. Pushed along the boards. Here's Townsend back to the line. Basigio getting set on the power play, which has half-minute left on it. Townsend, left side, waiting. Moves to Freer. Here is Darcy Werwanka, gives to Freer behind the net. Came right back along the boards. Werwanka from the right point. Quick pass to Basigio at the top of the slot. 15 left in the power play. Basigio winding, deflecting a pass. It was Bilodeau that got in front of it. Mark Freer back along the boards for Bill Bowler. 4 seconds left on the power play. Werwanka shoots, stopped by Racine. Rebound chopped away. And Kocur is back out on the ice. Teams it 5-a-side. Here is a pass. Freer cutting in with a shot, missed it short side, and the Dragons will turn it around. 3-0 Houston with 9:15 to go, third period. Joe Kocur, lead pass at center ice, goes into the Aero end. Here is Carl Valamont. He'll scoop it to center for the Moose. Morissette, and we've got a whistle, and oh no, I thought I heard a whistle. Play moves on. I thought I heard a whistle.
I thought I heard one too.
Here is Morissette that overskated it. Good, I thought I was going nuts. Now I know at least if I'm going nuts, you're going with me. Kocur across the line, making McIntyre that cuts in, pushed away by Malamont. Loose puck in the slot. Here's Miller trying to get a shot away. It was wrestled away. Morissette lowering the shoulder into Miller, and it shot back down the ice. This will be an icing call as McIntyre goes back, and now I know we'll get a whistle. We can take time out. 8:35 to go in the third, and the Aeros with a 3-0 lead.
Grand Casino Coshada. More new ways to win more often. Play blackjack with bets as low as $3 and as high as $5,000 anytime, 24 hours a day. Win big with 20 times odds on craps anytime, all day, every day. And over 2,100 slots. More dollars, more quarters, more nickels, even more chances to win more often. Grand Casino Coshada has more fun under one roof than you'll find anywhere. Grand Casino Coshada.
I love this place.
So, Ann, you are a lab technician at a Columbia hospital.
Yeah, well, we're really more than just a hospital.
Oh, okay. What are you then?
Columbia is a consortium of healthcare professionals. We touch on virtually every facet of our patients' medical needs.
So if I get hurt, I need to say, quick, rush me to a consortium of healthcare professionals.
Exactly. I'm kidding you.
Well, neat.
Oh, thanks.
Chemistry.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the Aeros defensive zone coverage, and this is just a great example of support. Carl Valmont playing McIntyre tough, loose puck. Dave Morissette goes after it. 3 Aeros around the puck. Once again, Carl Valmont coming back to the puck, getting knocked down. Dave Morissette coming back and then getting it all the way down the ice.
Here is a delayed penalty, or Racine coming to the bench. That's what it is. Extra attacker for San Antonio. 8 minutes left, and Racine's at the bench. I have never, in all my years of hockey, seen this. I saw Racine going to the bench. Here is Shuchuk, empty net. Can't get the shot away. Puck is centered, and it's jumped on by Daniel Shank. Here come the Dragons. Kocur's right in. He shoots. Stopped by Chabot. Net still empty. Extra attacker for the Dragons. 8 minutes left. This is easily the longest or the earliest I've ever seen a goaltender get pulled. Back to the line, McIntyre. The shot blocked. McIntyre again moving down the left side, and one of the Aeros shaken up. Is that Shuchuk that took it? I think so. He is shaken up. And we get a whistle finally. Did he take that in the chops? And trainer Jerry Mines will hustle out and see Gary Shuchuk. I recall in the first year that Terry Ruskowski pulled the goalie with about 4 or 5 minutes left, but never with 8 minutes. And let's go down to Rob Dobson. Dobber, can you ever think of a time with 8.5 minutes you pull your goalie?
Well, I've seen Scotty Bowman do it one time. That's probably where Brew got it from, watching him. But, you know, they're desperate. They're down 3-0. There's 7 minutes to go. Freddie's playing tremendous. We're playing good defensively, so they're trying to do everything they can to get on the board. And, you know, he tried it with a stick call. Now he's just trying something else to try to get his team fired up.
Can you tell from there what happened to Shuchuk?
Gary just came down to block a shot there. And, you know, if you look to the games in the past, the teams are paying the price, and that's what he did there. Sometimes it catches you in an awkward position. I'm not sure if it's his shoulder or it looks to be his wrist.
Oh, wow.
He's holding his wrist getting up off the ice, so you know, it's an unfortunate accident.
Hey, Dauber, you know, a lot has been made, and Troy has kind of said and compared the Aeros team to the Florida Panthers team. Does Dave Tippett do a lot of analogy like that?
Well, surprisingly, yes, and he used the same analogy as Troy had. And one thing that you look at Florida Panthers do, they don't really win ugly, they win effective, and they do whatever it takes to win hockey games, and that's been our motto since. Whether we win 2-1, 1-0 like we did last night, or 4-3, we just do what it takes and play the style that we have to play to win. Thanks,
Dauber. We're looking at Gary Shuchuk, and that picture, not good.
Well, no, it's in front of him, but you can't really tell when he gets hit exactly where it was. But from the point, it's when he either holds his arm like that, it's the shoulder or wrist, but I really think it's his wrist on that play.
Thanks, Dauber, as we take a look at the play here, Troy.
Gary Shuchuk is sacrificing his body, and it's real tough to see where he gets it. And I'll tell you what, we'll send down someone and see if we can get an update on Gary Shuchuk so we can send it back to his wife and kids who are watching back home, and we'll try to get an update as soon as we can on Gary Shuchuk, where he did get hit with that puck and how he's doing.
3-0 Aeros lead it. Right now, Racine still on the bench. Extra attacker. Here are the Dragons. McIntyre down the right side. Center. Kocur quick shot blocked. Here's another shot. And it was snapped high and wide of the net. McIntyre trying to fling one. The net is still empty, folks. 6-on-5 attacker for the Dragons. Conroy picks up a puck in behind the net. Shank takes Conroy to the boards. Battle for the puck. Aeros, if they can just clear it out. And Conroy just thrown aside by Shank. Conroy looking at the referee why there isn't a call there, but he'll get a whistle, and that's about it.
Daniel Shank playing very aggressive down in the corner. Most times that would be a penalty. Jade said, oh, I guess not. Aeros leading 3-0, decides not to call a penalty on Daniel Shank as he's kind of lassos Al Connor. He's working hard along the boards. Al grabs a stick there. And,
how is that not a penalty?
Well, that was a big right hook right to the chest of Al Conroy. Daniel Shank, who was an all-star in 93-95, and one thing, in 92-93, he had 495 penalty minutes. A lot of those were of the 10-minute kind, of the yapping kind. I almost guarantee.
No, Daniel Shank doesn't yap, does he?
I would guarantee you, out of the 495 minutes, 200 were yapping.
10-minute misconducts, 2-minute unsportsmanlike conduct.
Coach's nightmare.
Yeah. He's bounced around a little bit. The only guy I've ever seen kiss his hockey stick after scoring a goal, and we haven't seen it tonight. Thank goodness. Is back in the San Antonio end. McIntyre moves it up the left side. It's out at center. Back into the Aero end. Balamont is there, and it's cleared out at center. Too bad Freddie not the best with the puck with his sticker. He'd have a great chance at maybe an empty net. Here's a pass for Conroy going in after it. Conroy trying to get there. McIntyre, I think, beat him, and that'll be an icing call, and they'll bring a face-off back into Aero territory. Let's take a look at tonight's Columbia Community Calendar, brought to you by Columbia Healthcare Systems. The Aeros will be appearing at the Texas Children's Hospital. They'll be delivering toys that were donated in the toy drive held back on December 6th at the Summit. We want to thank everyone who participated. Also on December 20th, you can bring your fruitcake to the game and receive a couple of $10 tickets for the price of one. All proceeds benefit the Star of Hope mission.
And you talk about Freddie, if he could get it down in the empty net. You don't think Rob Dobson is licking his chops going, if I was out there, he would be firing that puck at every chance he had.
Yep. In fact, in Detroit, the game against Detroit, when they had pulled Jeff Reese, there were a couple chances. I asked him after the game, I said, were you thinking? He says, thinking.
He was going.
He was going to go. Face off to the left side of Freddie Chabot. We've had a goal scored this year by a goalie, Freddie Brathwaite, but we have not had one scored by a goalie off his stick. It had hit Brathwaite, and then a opposing player hit it into their own net with the net empty. Here's Panalea with a stuff shot blocked by Chabot, and he'll hold on.
And this is a situation that Dave Tippett, I'm sure, is looking at as this is going to happen a lot when you have a lead, that Dave Tippett will have 5 guys against 6 players as they pull the goalie. And this is a chance for the Aeros to practice their 5-on-6 play. I'm sure that knowing Dave Tippett and the thought process that goes through him, that he's thinking of that.
Face off to the right side of Frederic Chabot. 6:50 to go in the third in a 3-0 hockey game. Bowler against Barrie. Again, the net's still empty. Racine came in with came off the ice onto the bench with about 8.5 minutes left in the third period. Off the draw, picked up by Barrie. Scooped it down, but Lamb was there, and it's moved out at center ice. DeSantis rolled it ahead for Shank. It goes into the arrow end, knocked away by Hurlbut. Give it to Yo. And you got to realize the Aeros can't really take pokes out of here because they're going to get icing calls. And at this point, I don't know if you want icing calls.
Well, you want to take time off the clock as there's 6 minutes and 31 seconds. But when you're playing against 6 players and the Dragons have turned it up a notch, the one thing is that you're just pressured all over the ice. And that's what's happening with the Aeros. They're getting pressure all over. Every time a player gets someone on them, that someone else is there. It's almost like a 2-on-1 situation. So Bill Bowler is, I'm sure, hoping that he can fend someone off, get open, and slide it in the empty netter just to put this game to the rest.
Face off in the circle to the left side of Frederic Chabot. Off to the face off, was picked up and a shot by the Dragons block. Presidio chipped it up the boards, couldn't get it out. Back down into the corner, Bill Bowler is there, and it's out at center ice. Here is Sean Reed. He'll move it to center for Panalev. And the Dragons go back. Mark DeSantis, cross ice pass. Panalev can't find the handle. Reed is tapped along the boards, but here come the Dragons. Panalev out at center, brings it across the line. Len Barrie trying to move in, that's chipped away. Yo trying to clear it. Yo along the boards, muscled by Barrie. Shank came in there to have a look at things. Panalev bumped from behind, and a penalty coming up to Mike Hurlbut as he tossed Panalev. Here's a centering pass and a shot stopped by Chabot as Barrie thought he scored. And Len Barrie looks down, tapped Chabot on the pad and said something to him and said, I'm sure something in the neighborhood of how'd you get that?
What a great save by Frederic Chabot, going from his right side to his left side and ends up keeping his glove open and batting the puck down. And Mike Hurlbut's going off for cross-checking. I believe it was on Panalev who he ended up cross-checking into the boards. The one thing here is when you have a small player like that who's very quick and very agile as Panalev is that Mike Hurlbut gets his stick up. That's sometimes the only way to stop those guys. And that's the one guy, it's been a little silent tonight, but in the first 3 games of this series, Panalev has been one of the better players.
Right now, Stefan Alger coming in. We're talking with Jeff Brubaker, the head coach of the Dragons, as he's trying to get a late line change in here. Being the home coach, he gets last change, but there's a difference between last change and late change.
Yeah, as soon as the referee puts up his hand, the rules say you cannot make a change, and Brubaker trying to sneak one over, but ends up getting caught.
Off the draw, Conroy clear, but DeSantis moves down the left side again. The net's still empty for San Antonio. McIntyre rolled it to DeSantis as the power play is on to the Dragons rather. So it's 6-on-4 for San Antonio. Guess you can call it a 2-man advantage. Puck down low. Here come the Dragons. A pass came back to the line for Brian Glynn. Tossed it to McIntyre. Tees it up. He shoots. Chabot the save, and he will hold on. But now, with the net empty, the Aeros can shoot it at will.
And I was going to make that point, Adam. You must have been like the Swami. You're reading my mind. I was trying to get it out that now the Aeros can ice it and maybe get one of those bank goals off the boards, or if they see the empty net, shoot it all the way down without being penalized with a faceoff coming back at Frederic Chabot.
There's about 8.5 minutes left when Bruce Racine came to the bench, and he has been seated comfortably there for the last 3 minutes or so, and there he is. And right now, the Dragons have definitely carried the play a little bit, but what do you expect when you've got an extra man, and now they got a 2-man advantage?
And look for the Aeros penalty killing unit to come up large again, because once they can get it, they'll get it all the way down.
And you know who's key is Carl Valamont here, because this guy can get the puck up and down the ice in a hurry. He's so good with that stick. Here's a centering pass. DeSantis fired one through, but it went too far wide. Glynn, top of the slot. McIntyre, he shoots. Blocker save by Chabot. Back to the line. Glynn, winding, shooting. Too much loft on it, but Barrie is there. Minute 12 left to Hurlbut. Here come the Dragons, though. Barrie scooped it down, Shank, and we've got a whistle, and we've got a slashing minor. Well, a couple of slashing minors, so a couple of guys are going to go off, one from each team. And 5 minutes left to go in the third, and I will see Jinx is going to go off.
And Osborne.
And Keith Osborne.
They were battling in front of the net, and it was kind of a, you hit me with your stick, I'm going to hit you back, and now it goes down to the 5-on-4. Or no, it won't be 5-on-3. 5-on-3.
Which, or no. What do you say?
No.
Now you're confusing me. Why am I listening to you? Why am I ever listening to you, Troy? It's still 6-on-4. It's no loss of manpower. They put it up on the boards, but they don't have to, because you're already short-handed. That's the last time I listened to you, Troy Gamble. Unbelievable.
Well, you better not cry wolf, because every once in a while I might come up with a little tad bit of information.
You know, you'll be fine. Just when you talk about hockey. Oh, Troy, I'm sorry. You've had a rough night tonight. You've gotten it from all angles tonight.
I tell you, it's unbelievable how, you know, my friend Rob Dobson, who, well, I should say was my friend, carved me up in the first period, and I have you to deal with. This is tough.
Faceoff will be in the circle to the right side of Frederic Chabot. Barrie against Lamb, and it's still 6-on-4. Mixed down between Mark Lamb and Len Barrie, and Barrie wins the draw, but it's scooped away. Barrie gets it back. 2-man advantage for another minute and a half, or a minute rather. Barrie, centering pass, intercepted. LaRose cleared but not out. Held into Sandus, long shot deflected wide of the net. Barrie along the boards. Here's Len Barrie. Size pass, McIntyre, shot blocked. Panalev in behind the net, gives it over to Barrie. Barrie sends it back to Mark DeSantis. Barrie looks in front, scooped it down. Here's a centering pass, blocked, loose in front. It's picked up by LaRose. Aeros just trying to clear it, and they will out at center ice. Nice play by Lamb. Power play down to half a minute. Again, Bruce Racine still on the bench. Extra attacker, Panalev across the line. Nice move around Basigio. In, stuff shot. Chabot with the save, and he will hold on. A terrific move by Grigory Panalev, but he was belted after he went around Basigio. He got a nice shot on Chabot, but Freddie Chabot will hold on with 4:08 to go in the third and 16 seconds left to Hurlbut, and a 3-0 Aero lead.
And a layup just getting out in front of the net. Frederic Chabot holding his ground once again, taking the short side away. And a layup doing the diddly-doodly around Dave Basigio, and then coming out front, getting the shot on Frederic Chabot. Frederic Chabot's a little slow getting up. I don't know if he's dehydrated or maybe if he pulled a little muscle there.
Well, Jerry Mines is in the locker room tending to Gary Shuchuk. We wanted to get an update, but could not get one.
And as soon as we do, we'll let you know. And I'm sure that his wife, Michelle, and his sons, Alex and daughter, Mikhaila, are listening tonight.
Looks like he might have a cramp, Freddie Chabot.
And those cramps hurt. This game's starting to take a little toll on the Aeros as Gary Shuchuk goes out, and now Frederic Chabot is down.
While we got a second, let's send it down to the bench. Rob Dobson with 4:08 left, and obviously with 10 in a row, I guess my question to you as we get close to the Christmas holidays, you got any plans?
No, I don't. I know this week's a pretty busy week for me, and you know, the team as well. We've got a lot of time off here, but other than that, our family's a long way from here, so just kind of spend it with Troy if they'll let me.
Well, are you going to have your annual Christmas party?
Yeah, week Monday, but I've been banned from my garage. My wife won't allow me to sit in the garage any longer.
Dobber, will the time off hurt this hockey club at all with the fact you guys are on fire?
No, it's not a bad idea, but again, it's not really needed at this point. We're killing the penalties off as best we can, and if things get running around on a closer game, I'm sure he'd like to use it, but really it's not needed at this point in time.
Thanks, Dobber. Here's a long shot, hit the post, and it went wide. Sean Reed will turn it around. They'll move it up and out at center ice. Reed makes his move, brings it across the line. As the penalty is over to Hurlbut, it's now 6-on-5. Racine's still on the bench. Puck down low. Basidio cranked it off the boards, held to the line, though by Reed. Hurlbut trying to clear. Basidio on the boards. Reed again held it in, but now Basidio popped it, still can't clear the zone. Bowler can't golf it out of there. You know, Dragons doing a good job here with the net empty. They just can't beat Chabot right now. Shank centered one. It went wide, and Bowler's got a wide open net. Bowler right in, shooting, scoring 4-0. The Aeros lead it.
Bill Bowler ended up getting the empty net goal. Skating hard out of the Aeros zone, and that's just about going to do it as Bruce Racine's going to come back into the net. Them being down 4-0 now. I guess now the only question is can the Aeros keep that goose egg up on the board? I'm sure that they would love to do that.
And it is the first time that the Aeros score 4 goals in five games. They finally get it again here.
And Bill Bowler just out-skating the Dragons defenseman and putting it in the empty net. Good hustling. For good measure, though, he put it off the left-hand post, as you saw in the replay. He didn't want to just put it in the middle of the net. Puts it off the post.
So Bowler has his 10th of the year, and the Aeros lead it 4-0. And obviously, at this point, the only dramatics left to discuss here is Freddie Chabot. Can he make it 2 straight games without allowing a goal? Graham Townsend tied up along the boards. Picked up by San Antonio, and McIntyre scampers to center. Got it into the Aero end. Chabot out of the net, and he'll clear it himself. 3 minutes left. Mike Yeo now trying to come in. He's hauled down, and here's a penalty coming up to the Dragons. Delayed penalty. And finally, it's touched, and we can take a timeout. 2:44 left. Third period. Aeros 4-0 lead. Freddie Chabot pitching a beauty.
Yeah, he's pitching a beauty, and hopefully he's healthy. But Gary Shuchuk, dislocated shoulders, the initial response from the training room, so that is not good news for the Aeros.
No time factor on that one. Of course, Krupke out for 3 months with the torn rotator cuff. I think it's this week he goes under the knife, eh?
On Monday.
Yeah, Monday. Here is Guy Leroux, a penalty up on the board to McIntyre, so the Aeros will go on the power play here, and it's out at center ice. Sean Reed, the Dragons trying to bring it up ice. Reed in across the line. That's poked away, but Reed got it back, and then it was chopped away by Valamon. Mark Lamb scooped it out to center, and here come the Aeros. Lamb to Hurlbut. Looking back along the boards, Mark Greig scooped it down, and here is Mike Hurlbut, a long shot hammered wide of the net, and Mark Lamb will get it right back. 1:56 left in the game. Aeros with a 4-0 lead. Lamb to Greig was shot right on. Racine the save. Greig again getting set on the power play, which has 1:05 left in it. Mark Greig to the line. Hurlbut, the shot deflected away. Santos is there, and he will cream it right back out at center and into the Aero end.
And what just a great job every player on that bench has done tonight, working hard, making sure that they outwork the player against them, and that's the success to this system.
Valamon. A pass up for Yeo, chipped it for Bowler, shoveled it back, but it was intercepted by Shank, and it will go out of play.
if there is anything remotely positive about Shuchuk's injury, and there's never anything really positive when a guy goes down, but if there's something remotely positive, is the fact that the director of player personnel, Pete Deneen, now has a week to find a replacement, because basically he's got to find somebody to replace Gord Krupke, who's out 3 months. And the Aeros, so obviously skating with their allotment of 18, he's now got to find somebody for sure.
Well, and the problem there, Adam, is when you say replacement, those two guys you just can't replace. There's so much of this character and attitude of the team that Pete Deneen's going to have 5 days, and he's going to have a tough job finding somebody.
Here's an empty net. Graham Townsend pops it in for a power play goal. It is 5-0. The Aeros lead it.
Well, there's another positive. There's the second power play goal of this evening for the Aeros. No Graham Townsend getting the empty net goal there by a missed play by Bruce Racine. Well, there is so many positives from the game. The only negative, obviously, is the injury to Gary Shuchuk. And our wishes go out to him that it's not that bad. And Bruce Racine just misplaced the puck here. He's out of the net, passes it over, but he ends up passing it over to one of the Aero forwards, and looked like that was Bill Bowler, and Graham Townsend gets the freebie.
And Graham Townsend gets his 12th goal of the year, and the Aeros with a 5-0 lead, and they're bringing Racine to the bench again. Now I'm confused.
Well, I don't think Jeff Brubaker's happy with the way Bruce Racine's played tonight. Or he's trying to break that goose egg of Frederic Chabot.
That might be what he's doing there. Puck goes into the Aero end. Here is Cogio trying to corner, under a minute to go in the hockey game. The Aeros are going to win their 10th in a row. Now it's the matter, will Freddie get the shutout? Puck in the corner, Barrie muscle it along the boards. Escape the corner, Barrie loosens it up, chipped it down, puck centered, here's Panaleev, winding, shooting, blocked, and the Aeros trying to move it out of there. Here's Miller, jammed it for Barrie, back to the line, Harlock, down the left side, a shot deflected away, and it's go back along the line, and the Aeros have it. Freer with the empty net, turning it center ice, he'll just put it back, and Glynn is there with 19 seconds. Can it be? Panaleev. He'll roll up ice, give it over to Len Barrie. Pass comes over to Bilodeau. 8 seconds left. Aeros, a pass goes in, and the Houston Aeros have done it again. A shutout of the San Antonio Dragons, 5-0. Frederic Chabot will pick up the win, and 10 is a very good number, a perfect 10 for the Aeros.
And you were wondering before the game if Frederic Chabot won the game, could he get goalie of the week again? Well, yeah, if that does not answer it, then I don't know what does. Another shutout, and what an effort once again by this Aero hockey team.
Well, it did not go without a price, though, and hopefully things will not be as serious as it first looked for Gary Shuchuk and his shoulder, as the Aeros with a 5-0 win. Frederic Chabot, a terrific effort tonight.
Well, he just played so well, and he made some big key saves at times during the game. And that's what Dave Tippett and the Aeros expected from Frederic Chabot when they signed him.
So Frederic Chabot, congratulations to him, as the Aeros now up their record to 18-13-1, and they are now tied for the time being with the Utah Grizzlies. And we take it through the high-low scoring summary. The Aeros had a 1-0 lead, but then in the third period, Gary Shuchuk gave the Aeros a 2-0 lead after he deflected a Dave Cogio goal. Cogio and the Rose get the assist. Aeros led 2-0. They made it 3-0. That would be Bill Bowler, 9th of the season, shorthanded at 7:24. Mike Yeo, the only assist. Aeros would make it 4-0. Again, Bill Bowler, after they had pulled Bruce Racine, an empty net goal, 10th of the season at 16:47. And then Graham Townsend, a power play goal at 18:50 from Bowler and Cogio. And the Aeros defeat the Dragons by a score of 5-0. And when Troy and I return, final thoughts from Freeman Coliseum. We'll be back right after this. Aeros Hockey on KNWS has been sponsored by Southwest Airlines, with low fares on every seat, every flight, every day. And by Columbia Healthcare. Healthcare has never worked like this before. And by your local Texas Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, Jeep, Eagle dealers. Test drive one today. And
presented by Whataburger, the homegrown Texas taste since 1950. Fourth shutout of the year. The Aeros win it 5-0. And that takes us to our Whataburger What a Play of the Game. 5 goals to choose from, but we're not going to choose one. We're going to choose the save of the night.
Well, Frederic Chabot kept the Aeros in it with this huge save on Panaleov as a second effort. He ends up getting his blocker over, diving, sprawling. Just a great second effort, and that's got to be play of the game.
And Whataburger, the homegrown Texas taste since 1950. Aeros win it by a score of 5-0. They are now 18-13-1 with 37 points, for the time being tied for third with the Utah Grizzlies. The Aeros return to the Summit Friday night as they take on the Las Vegas Thunder. Tickets are available by calling Ticketmaster at 629-3700. Game time is at 7 o'clock. The Aeros and the Thunder Friday night beginning at 7. KNWS and the Aeros return to the airwaves New Year's Eve as the Aeros take on the Kansas City Blaze. We look forward to seeing you then. For Troy Gamble, this is Adam Gordon reminding you the final score tonight. The Houston Aeros 5, San Antonio Dragons no score. Good night, everybody.